We're not worried about that. We're not worried about that. What's up, y'all? We live finally. Let's do this real quick because I just learned that some of this stuff is a little bit easier for us to deal with when it comes to getting all your comments and everything, get more people to know about what's happening. But we're good now, so let's go. Okay, cool. Here we go. All right, finally, we're here, y'all. Hope y'all doing well. Pretty much everybody's here tonight. Avery Moses will be up here later on. And we are going to turn that down. We're going to have a good show tonight. There's a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, so we're going to go ahead and talk about it. And y'all doing all right over there? Everybody good? Y'all all right? Y'all all right?
Great.
Yes, sir.
I'm great.
He'll be back. But good to see everybody tonight. We are coming here live after a week. It's just been a lot of funerals, a lot of people passing. Some of them we were very close to, some of them we were not, but still knew about them. Some of them we were not even knowledgeable of the fact that they were ill or anything. You know, sometimes when people don't tell you what's wrong at first and then they transition, first question we ask is, well, what happened? And then we find out later on that people have diabetes and cancer, or, you know, what's bothering me a little bit somewhat. We're going to try to make this as jubilant as possible, but what bothers me somewhat is that some of this sickness was
Hold
not
up, wait. Can I say something? I'm a jerk because when people ask that question, what happened? I'm like, their heart stopped beating. Like, why would you ask that?
Well,
I'm a jerk every now and again.
I think it's some people's way of just trying to find out because that's what they want to tell other people. Because, you know, some people just want to be the first ones to have the news, and, you know, I'm the one who told such and such and so and so.
Right.
And when you take pride in being the messenger of bad news, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
That part.
And I think, you know, I don't never want to be the one to have to tell somebody bad news, regardless of what it is. But at the same time, you know, when you get to the brass tacks of it, there's some people who don't feel relevant in their own home, so they got to spread something abroad so they can be relevant.
True.
And that's just what that is. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is a lot of these people, some of them did not die just from medical issues. Some of them died from mental issues. Some of them died from mental stress and illnesses. Some of them died from, you know, having, you know, different things going on, you know, that they didn't publicly speak about. But later on, you found out that they died from broken hearts. You know, some of them died from, you know, just stress of the mind. You know, stress will kill you before the problem will. And a lot of times people often are not quick to say what's wrong. There's some people who just don't want to tell you that anything is wrong, you know, because it's enough to go through it. Then they have to sit there and you know, play in their minds how to, you know, tell you what's going on. They have to go back and revisit everything that was painful. So this is a very hard time for a lot of people. And, you know, I just wish that everybody would understand that, you know, sometimes the best thing to do is just see something's wrong and just immediately go to praying or just being concerned, do something. A lot of people want to kill people off before they die. You know, I don't know how many times we've gone through that.
Yeah.
Somebody pronouncing people dead and they still sitting up on the gurney getting the IVs pulled out there, you know. It's just a lot of people who just insist on just relevancy. They just have to feel like they're part of some now situation, you know, and it's just sad. But, you know, we go through that. We deal with these things, you know, and we have to make sure that beyond, you know, what everybody else is doing, you know, sometimes being a follower will get you killed. Be it verbally, be it, you know, systematically, you know, just always trying to be popular. I guess y'all figure these days being popular ain't always the best thing because, you know, you're under scrutiny. As soon as everybody find out about you, they're going to try to find out what's wrong with you.
So true.
So you just have to not try to use people's deaths as a time to be relevant. with that being said, I put a post up the other day, not in malice, not to be derogatory or start an issue. As I just stated, I don't want to contradict myself. I wasn't looking to be famous. I just had an opinion about some of the things that were going on. And sometimes I ask this question: are the funerals about the deceased or about the people who have come to see the deceased?
My.
I think a lot of times we are so busy. I'll just say it like this, and y'all can piggyback off of it if you want to. If you choose not to, that's fine. But I just believe that a funeral is not a time to showcase your new single. I feel like a funeral is not a time for you to showcase the fact that you have adjutants and all these people around you to consider yourself relevant. You know, you basically are in a position where you are attempting to try to be noticed and recognized through, you know, the pain and suffering. Because one thing I know about funerals is that the real journey starts after the funeral is over. But the deceased cannot tell what you're doing and they don't care.
That's true.
So
They could
true.
care less about what you're doing, even in their wishes and even in them basically saying this is what they want at their funeral. I've often asked
Right.
that question as I got older. Why are you worried about what's going to happen at your funeral when you're not even going to be there?
Right.
Exactly.
You know, you could care less about what's going on, who's there, who's what. Now, we do understand that as people who are, you know, coming to the funerals, and we are seeing to it that your wishes are met. That we're doing what you wanted to do in your honor, even though you're not there, and we're just basically looking at a shell at that point. It's in your honor, but I think a lot of times people have it misconstrued. I even saw one funeral where they were lifting an offering, and I just
Bruh.
I had to just really just turn the phone off and kind of just put on the Olympics. Like I had to do something else because it was just way too much going on. And listen, I'm not here to bash nobody. I just think a lot of times, if we look at New Orleans and look at how they do it, I think sometimes instead of always looking at how bad things are, look at that their tradition. Their tradition is they go down the road to the cemetery. They have the umbrellas and they have a whole entourage and caravan of people who go to this cemetery. They pay their respects. You know what they have to do, and then as they're leaving the tomb, as they're leaving the grave site, as they're leaving the cemetery, they're celebrating. You know, they're basically all joining in celebrating the life. I know in the African culture, you know, when they have funerals, they you know make an elaborate approach to honoring somebody. We get all of that,
Mm-hmm.
but when we got to sit in church for 9 hours because everybody coming from everywhere to salute this one person or these individuals, and we have to sit and listen to 12 songs each. And then every pastor that gets up has a microphone and wants to stay up there. They tell you 2 minutes, and you stay for
And
32
they take
minutes
10.
each. I think a lot of times we are being unfair and unrealistic. Now, there will be a lot of people who won't agree with me because you're the main ones who hold up the services. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that if it's really about the deceased, then let's be clear about one thing. They don't care what we do.
True.
So as a result of that, y'all can go ahead and speak on it. I think I've talked enough. I think I set it up quite a bit.
Listen,
All
I
right, Brent,
totally
go
agree.
ahead. Scott, hold on. Let Brent go ahead because his
Here
head
we
is
go.
steaming and his
What's up, Avery?
eyebrows they just sweating right now.
What's up, brothers, sisters? How y'all doing?
Hey,
Avery.
Avery. Well, since I have the floor, I like all that foolishness. You know, I like all the grandeur, all the stupidness, all the over the topness, because it only comes from broke people. Like, you know, people that really don't have nothing. Like, you don't see rich people carrying on like that. I think the most elaborate rich funeral that we ever seen was Aretha Franklin. So like all of the grandeur, all the pomp and circumstance, all the mispronounced words, all the people on program, all the songs, all the theatrics. I love all of that. In fact, when I die, I want a section of everybody I slept with. Just one
You know
section.
what? Oh my God.
Everybody that I've ever gave a good
Oh
time.
God. Oh God.
I'm talking about from
Oh
the
God.
beginning of when I started to the end of when I mastered that thing. I want everybody to
You
be
want all
on
of it.
one side in
Right.
one section. And I'm going to really show y'all how to have a funeral. Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
You gonna show
cannot.
us, but not
And
being there. Okay.
and I told my mama this, before you put me in the ground, I want to be butt naked. Don't you put no clothes on me and I'm just going to rot. No. Take off them clothes, give them to Goodwill, give them to
Merciful
charity
Jesus.
or whoever. I want to be buried naked.
Kevin, did you say he go first?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did.
And
And I'm
I
still
don't
trying to
want
figure
to
out
be
why.
cremated because I don't want the Lord to have to put all this dirt and sand together. Y'all spread me in the Pacific and I'm somewhere in
This
Africa.
man.
No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I don't want to be shark food. Go ahead and
Shark
just
food.
just put on a show. And I don't care who announced it first. I want people to announce my death before the family because most of my family ain't Facebook literate or social media literate. The moment y'all hear I died, post it. I don't care. It is what it is. I have lived one hell of a life for the devil and for Christ. And so when I go
I
out,
can't.
I'm going out with a bang. And I promise you, it's going to be one service nobody want to miss. Now, I do plan on being caught up in the rapture because it's so much cheaper. You know what I'm saying? It's so much
Man,
cheaper.
it's crazy.
Because believe it or not, when he
No,
called me, I'm going with him. I don't care what the devil say.
can't.
When he calls me, I'm going with him. So I don't know when he's coming back, but I do plan on being caught up in the rapture because it just saves a lot more money. I don't want to have to, I don't want to put nobody through all of that.
Kevin, you really had to start with us like this
You
tonight.
started this right
I,
here. This
I
is
appreciated
Let me
it. That
let
was
me
that
let
was
me say
good.
something. Let me say
Honesty is the
something.
best
The
At
policy.
way I'm
least,
cracking up.
listen. At least he went first, so now,
I got out the way.
Oh God.
yeah, we done with all that. Yeah,
It's the
so,
first bus that mean the most. Now,
so,
next,
so,
Oh my Lord. Oh God.
it's that first one that's the best one.
hush.
Them second, third, fourth, fifth ones be a little weak.
Oh
Whatever.
my gosh, you are so funny, honey.
I'm just talking about me.
Oh my Lord.
all
Nobody
right.
else.
Well, Miss Tracy, go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
I have a story. Okay, so
Ooh.
my husband's ex-wife passed away.
Oh, dang.
And
I mean, no.
apparently she, had
I'm sorry.
done some things in her lifetime. So there was an ex-husband row. So
That's what I'm talking
Wow.
about.
my husband says, "Come up here and sit with me." I said, "I'm the dog. I wasn't no ex-husband. All y'all sit on that row. I'm sitting in the back."
I
Jesus.
knew you was good. I knew it was good for you to go next.
So
What?
they all sat on the ex-husband row. Bless their hearts.
How many
I
was
sat in the
it?
back.
Wow.
How many was it?
Wow.
I ain't sitting on no ex-husband,
It was
bro.
a
I hope all y'all get hit by a bus. I ain't sitting by none of y'all. Not
First
none
of
of
all,
y'all.
Because somebody got cheated on.
Oh,
Yeah, right. I hope all
Yes.
y'all get hit by a moving Amtrak train.
I mean, there was some
All
cheating.
y'all.
That's
Y'all should have been at
crazy.
that funeral. How long ago she died?
She been gone a good little minute now.
Oh, no. I wish I would have known.
Myron, we good, man. We late too. A lot of technical difficulties. We all right. Avery,
What's up, bro?
did you hear what all of this was about?
Yeah, I
was
was
sad.
thinking what Tracy was saying. Yo, what if they had like a baby daddy role, like when the woman had like 5 or 6 baby daddy? Yo, that would be something. Like,
Them
Okay,
jokers
well.
was lined up on the row like a quartet section.
baby daddy
Woo!
1, baby daddy
That's
2, baby
hilarious.
daddy. Yo, that's
Blind
crazy.
Boys of Alabama.
that's crazy.
All right.
I
Well,
love that kind of
that's
foolishness.
crazy.
Nah,
Brent,
but
you already
So
went.
no, the
Hold
crazy
on.
part is though,
no,
The thing
I've
but
with
had
Briz,
situations like that though.
he want to leave a legacy, a story. He want to be like, I went out with a bang. You know what I
And
mean?
it's
So I get
crazy
it.
Or
that you
write it down.
it's crazy that you say that
Well,
because that was my actual topic with my group for my job. Because I deal with people with NAA issues. So
oh, okay.
legacy was very important. And dang, that dang on story. That was yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't. Hey, Tracy, I think the funny part about that is I said it before. You're in the South, and for some reason, people in the South think a little differently. Now, I know had that happened in the city,
That
somebody's
ain't
getting punched in
happening,
the
bro.
mouth.
Yeah,
Somebody's
so
getting
yeah,
hurt.
that's a fight
Somebody's
waiting.
getting hurt. So
Not at all.
I just think that's
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with it.
we don't
Listen,
kumbaya like that. And
no, no,
It's
no,
a
no, no,
whole
no,
lot
no, no, no,
with
no.
it.
Listen, we don't kumbaya like that. I promise you this much: that if y'all had it, just imagine if it was the other way around and it was the ex-wives role.
that's
Lord
a
Jesus.
reality TV show waiting to happen.
That would have been a massacre for anybody. So yeah. Scott, I'm gonna let you go last. Tanya, go ahead. You was gonna say something? No. Yeah,
I
no?
didn't say I'm done. Fine. I didn't say all the little comments I can because Brent came with the fire, and then Tracy came with a little bit of gasoline. So I'm
All
cool.
right.
It be that
Scott, you got
Tracy.
anything?
They blew that up.
Yeah, Tracy is
So
the atomic bomb just waiting to happen. Just trying to
Yeah,
tell you.
here's the
yeah.
funny part. Like I've had situations where there have been multiple children and multiple spouses in the funeral home. There was one where the front row on the side where the instrument was the wife and the kids. The girlfriend and her kids. Wait, one girlfriend and her kids were on the front row on the other side. Behind them was another girlfriend and a kid, and then in the back of the church was another kid that they found out about when the decedent passed.
Oh,
Yeah. So I
welcome
mean,
to the show.
being musicians, we've
Yeah,
been through it.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
yeah, that's a whole nother subject.
yeah, but no, I'm saying, but we've
Yeah,
seen
we've seen it.
these
Yeah,
things
we've seen it.
happening, and
We've seen it.
it's crazy. Nothing is worse than when they get up and make a big scene in the funeral home.
Yeah, don't let them have
Because
words. Don't let them have words.
right,
Don't let
but
them
That's the truth.
that and then don't let them see each other. But what I love about specifically the funeral home here in Patterson, one of the main ones here in Patterson, Bragg, they don't deal with all that mess. It's like, who's the one that signed on the dotted line? Because now you're the one that makes the final decision.
Right.
If you sign on the dotted line, then you tell us what you want.
Right.
Everybody else, it don't matter.
I think where we are with this
Exactly.
now, though, we have gone to the point that I want to get back to the logic of it. We're basically speaking about how elaborate these funerals are. One person got up on my page and she said, "Well, everybody grieves differently, and people shouldn't be complaining about it like the one who made this post." She was talking about me. I don't know who she was, and I said, "Okay, no, it's fine." And so, like I said, I've never seen this lady's name in my life. I don't know who she is. I erased her message because I was like, "Now I'm gonna show you how you can
How you
quietly
do
get
it.
rid of this."
That's how you do it.
Right.
But I think one of the going back to the topic, one of the things that I was saying was that sometimes I think we lose sight of why we all came together in the first place. And I think what we need to do is get to a point where we fully understand that funerals are for people to remember the person, not for people to remember
Yep.
you. And that's been a big thing. Go ahead, Tommy.
Here's what I'm gonna say, and I'm saying this lightly because I don't know these people personally. But if their personality was already like that ahead of this funeral, we can't expect nothing different at the funeral. And I'm gonna let y'all sit there and think. And I don't want you to answer. You can answer if you choose to. But if these people's personalities were already me, I like attention, then we can't expect anything different. Am I wrong or am I don't know these people. I've lived in California my whole life up until 3 years ago. Maybe not even 4 3. Tell me, am I wrong or right? If these people's personalities were always like this, I'm talking about guests, parents, everybody a part of the funeral. If their personality was already like this, then this was an opportunity. All this was an op.
their personalities, especially where we come from, is very flashy, very see me, very it's like that. But I still think, as I've watched in the occupation that I'm in, I've watched people who are very loud and flamboyant and very obvious. I've even seen them take a step back because they realize that this situation
It's too much.
it's not
And that's
concerning
called
them.
tech. And that's
It's,
called
it's
tech.
not. So my thing is, you're right. Their personality did speak this, but at the same time, just because your personality is loud doesn't mean you have to be.
True.
That part.
But you can't
Especially,
be loud and flashy and don't have no insurance.
well,
I'm gonna go.
I can't.
I'm gonna
Nobody.
bye y'all. I love y'all.
no, you ain't going nowhere.
Not
If you
not
can
have no
stand all of this,
insurance.
and here's what I found out. Byron said that
Bloody Jesus.
Kirby Brown had the most funerals ever. I was going to speak about that.
Bro, did you see how they almost dropped that casket though, bro?
Yeah, I saw it. It was ridiculous.
It was
That
all
wasn't
the
Kirby
way
Brown.
in
They-
the
That was Julius
sky.
Caesar's
But here's
concert.
the thing. Here's the thing. I understand that everybody wanted to see this individual. Kirby Brown was like a cousin almost. Avery, we all
Okay.
knew him for
Bro,
a
he was
long
an
time.
uncle for real, bro.
So I understand that there were arrangements made for people to bring him to be visible to all people that were currently involved in his church in Danville, Virginia, and then in New York. With that being said, the provisions that were made by a specific person, and he did what he could to make sure that all
Everybody was
parties
accommodated.
could see him. I get that. The problem that I had
God.
I had a
was
few, but
that
I'll go.
what the problem that I had was there was one situation in funeral where they kept saying, "Come on, New York, let's show them how we do it in New York."
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
let's send him home the right way.
And I kept
That was
saying,
disrespectful to
but I
VA.
was like,
Very much so.
I couldn't understand. I kept saying to myself, I was
Yeah,
like, why are we sitting here? Why are we sitting here going back and forth about who's sending him off better?
You know why? Because that's an up north thing. It's always a competition, bro.
But the thing is,
That's not an up north thing. That's a Brooklyn
A
thing.
Brooklyn
Sorry
thing.
to
Okay,
say.
yeah. New Jersey not
I
like that.
don't like the
Brooklyn is
don't like
competition
that
all day.
all day, and it was so
and
sad because I'm
I
like,
don't want to talk to Brent anymore. I don't want to talk to Brent.
I
Everybody,
saw
keep
that
going,
too.
Scott. Keep going,
Yo,
Scott. Go
what
ahead.
made? I'm gonna tell you
but
what
I
made.
don't like.
I'm gonna
I
tell you
don't
what
like.
made me
I don't
mad
like the
about
fact that
that.
they did that because
Yeah,
Danville did. The two services were classy
classy.
and they were worshipful. I mean, it spoke to everything that Bishop was.
Okay.
When
Okay.
we
Now
got
the
to New York,
people were
I'm on the
boring.
plane.
I'm gonna be real, bro. The people were
Oh yeah,
boring.
they were. But I
Very
was on the
stupid.
plane shaking my head going, you really just said that? Like, forgive us, Danville, but this is the way we have church in New York. And we're going to show y'all how to really do it. I'm like,
I'm
so
and
is
I'm gonna be
this
honest.
what we're doing?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Danville is no place to play with.
Show ain't.
They are
At
some
all.
voodoo
At all.
witchcraft working people. You piss them off enough.
Absolutely. You'll
Oh,
be-
you
you
from Danville?
won't ever
That's
shout
I'm
no more.
from Danville, so I know.
Yeah,
You do
yeah.
know.
Them Danville people different.
But
Piss
what
'em
made
off.
me
But-
mad is how you gonna sit there and also say, "Oh, he had insurance," but then you sitting there asking for
But they usually put
$200.
money at the feet.
Because he
Oh,
didn't have.
No, bro. When he first started and said, y'all want these front seats,
Oh,
I should charge y'all $500 and tell you put $500 at her feet.
I heard that, and I didn't know what it was. But here's my thing. This
That's
is
when
what
I
I'm
turned the
saying
funeral
again. I just feel this way that this is what I
Brent,
was
you turn your
talking
camera
about
off?
in the beginning.
I sure did.
This is what I was talking about in the beginning. We have to understand that kind of stuff, and I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm not here to bash anybody.
It ain't bashing when it's the truth.
But it's only hit dogs is gonna holler.
That's
All I know
Pretty
is
much.
that what you have to do is you have to really pay attention to how, and some of us really don't see how foolish we are until after the fact.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is that you're sitting here and you're going through all these antics. And why does it have to be a competition? Why do you have to stand up in front of people and say, let's show them how we do it, New York. Let's go, New York.
We don't.
Hey, New York, let's go ahead. Danville, y'all had them down there, but we got them up here now. We're going to show you how. Listen, at the end of the day, can I be all the way honest? Kirby Brown don't care if he was in Danville, Brooklyn, Vegas, Carolina. He don't care where he was. And then the other part of it is that every single time we do stuff like that, we are showing the generation behind us how they should do it. When in reality, we should. This is showing them what not to do.
That's right.
You said that.
I don't want to give my mother's situation away as far as what she wanted in her will, but one thing my mother said was that if people really know me, and if they really understand who I was, I'm not going to have an obituary.
Right.
Because what I want is to have a blank sheet of paper, and I want people to write down what they know about me.
I like that. I'm still that.
And when that happens, then you don't have to sit up there in the funeral all day reading an obituary.
I'm sorry. When you said, and when that happens, it just took me back to Big Mama's house. And on the day when that happens, oh, won't it be a happy day?
But my point is
ultimately that's what you want.
Why do we have to have funerals? And I'm gonna go back to this point. I love where we come from. That don't mean I like everything we do. But I don't understand why there has to be 10 and 12 choirs and this person gotta have words and then this person gotta do this. And when you're keeping people for 10 hours in a funeral and then you ask them for money after the 10 hours. That's disrespectful. And if he had insurance, then the reality of it is, why didn't you raise that money after the funeral? Better yet. Better yet. Right. Better yet. Why didn't you just give them what they needed?
How about that?
I didn't see neither one of those people go in their pockets and give anything.
And I ain't bashing nobody. I'm just saying, like, we keep making all these demands, but I've learned at my age, that you got to stop demanding what you're not willing to be. Stop expecting from people what you're not willing to be to people. Stop asking for them to do that. If you're not willing to be respectable, stop asking people to respect you. If you're not going to give somebody's funeral or the payment for their funeral, then stop demanding that people give, and you ain't gave nothing. Now, if you did, that's fine. But from what we could see, there was no giving on their behalf. It was just all about draining people's pockets.
That's good, man.
And then the other thing is, some of these people literally are so used to getting from people that they're novices to giving to people.
Right.
And my thing is, if you can demand that people give to you in public, then let them see that you're willing to give to people in public as well.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying. That's it. That's all. That's all. Because that's just like a man and a woman. I get tired of these women out here telling men to be this and men to be that, but they're not willing to respect the man. And this is what my sister, she was gonna come on tonight. She changed her mind, but she was sick. My sister said, if people can't respect you even after they know everything about you, then you need to leave them alone. Well, if Jameson gave, then we're not talking about him. If Jameson gave, then we're not talking about him. But I'm talking about those individuals who literally come up and say, yo, you need to do this and you need to do that. And then they don't do anything. So, and again, like I said, I'm not here to bash nobody. If somebody is having a certain issue about what I'm saying, then you need to go back and listen to what I said. What I said was, and nobody's saying it on here now, I'm just putting it out there, that literally I just get tired of all of these $500, $200, $100, $300 lines. That gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
Those days are over. And with the prices that's going up now, you can't even go get a pack of gum for 25 cents no more. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are having a hard time out here. And, you know, what I also know is that a lot of people wear all their money on their back to impress a bunch of people who ain't looking or who don't care.
That's true.
We don't care
You know?
one way or another.
So that's all I'm saying. So if anybody's offended, I'm not here to even deal with it like that. I'm just basically saying that we're just putting way too much emphasis on what's not important and we're minimizing what is. Go ahead, Brent. I see you spinning. Go ahead.
I just think that the biggest takeaway from everything within the last month that we all have been experiencing is that we need to make sure our business is in order.
That's good.
Period. Point
Yeah.
blank.
That's it.
If you are blessed to see tomorrow, find you a policy, find you a plan, find you some insurance, find you something, talk to somebody, make an investment, do something, because one thing about it is that this death angel ain't playing with you hoes. So do something and
Oh, it's a whole
help the
home.
rest of the family out. I think that is the biggest thing. I'm never gonna give in an offering at somebody's funeral, because for me, it ain't my fault you died. So I'm not gonna give the money.
What?
Wow.
Said it ain't my
Wow.
fault you died.
Wow.
You should have taken care of all that before we had all this stuff. I think it is tacky. I think it makes the church look crazy. And then I also think that if they don't have insurance, or they don't have all their business and stuff taken care of, then for me, it makes me look at the family like, well, why didn't y'all come together as a private entity
That's
and
all I'm saying.
a loved one?
That's
Because
all I'm saying.
my family, I'll be doggone if
Don't put it on display.
if I let that out about a family member. No, as a family unit, we need to come together as a family. Ain't nobody else business. Let's keep this behind closed doors. Everybody get whatever
Right.
they need to give, or even my close knit friends, or whatever that you can include them in the message, or whatever like that. But let that be that, so that when we come there, ain't nobody got to know nothing about nothing. It's taken care of. And so for me, if we got to do all that, then that tells me you really did not have people behind you that loved you.
And that's
Right.
it.
Here's my thing. Brent, you said it, and I want to say this real quick because it comes to the insurance portion of everything. Here's what I know.
Okay.
People who are handling their business are not always available for stuff like this.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
People who are really handling their business are not always available to do things like this. So shout out to all the people that's waiting for your mama and daddy to die so you can take their money and do what you want to do.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, that's a lot of that going on too.
That's
You know, we often try to label ourselves as, you know, yeah, I'm doing this for my mom, or I'm doing that, or whatever. Listen, if you ain't grown enough to be on your own and your mama ain't co-signing for your apartment, or your daddy ain't co-signing for your car, or, you know, even with insurance, you're waiting on somebody else to get a job so that they can put you on the insurance, or, you know, I don't understand why we do this kind of stuff, but then we come to church and act like we got it all together. That kind of stuff gets on my nerve. And that's why I've gotten out of it as much as I've been, because to me, logically, it doesn't make sense. And I got tired of putting myself in arguments that weren't logical. You know, if they're logical, that makes sense. But if there's no logic to this, then why are we even talking about it?
Why are we doing it?
Just a lot of things that we don't need to be doing that don't make no sense. Like for instance, having multiple services. That is draining, because what you are doing is you are making the family go through trauma over and over
and over again.
I agree.
over
In
again.
different states.
Yeah.
In different states
Right.
and different times, just when they have gotten to a place where they can finally deal with reality, we got to come back tomorrow. What? Now I got to see them all over again. They got to reopen the casket. We got to wind them down and put it back. It's just like, can we do a one and done? Like, come on, because now
Make it make
Some of that
sense.
is from the families requesting that too.
well, they crazy.
No, a lot of times it is because of the title in the church. You have some that are apostles and
Absolutely.
bishops that
Man,
you know they're
Can we not
local.
do that? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Because I didn't want to waste this time talking about them. Let's not do that. Because if you say apostle one more time, I'm gonna have a whole thing by myself.
Oh my
Let's
God,
just not
help
do
me,
that.
Jesus. Help
Let's
me,
not do
Lord.
that. Let's not do
Help me,
that.
Jesus.
But what I want to say, can I be honest with everybody? Real
Sure, yeah,
talk.
sure.
If I could
Please
just
do.
tell you this, when Michael Jackson died, everybody flew to his funeral. I'm gonna shut up now.
How about that?
They did.
But that was Michael Jackson. We got a lot of no names that's dying. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, you know their family can't afford having their new arena.
Most of them are on Section 8. So
Right.
how are they flying to somebody? Let me tell you something. When my grandmother passed away a couple of years ago, my dad's mother, right there, 93 Gerard Place, Newark, New Jersey, across the street from Milton Brunson, not Milton Brunson, but
Milton Bigham.
Milton
Bingham.
Bigham Church.
How's the address?
When she died, my grandmother had in her will that every last grandchild, great grandchild, and all the rest of her children that was alive, she had enough insurance money to buy everybody a round trip ticket to her service.
That's
That's
beautiful.
beautiful.
And it's a lot of us, because them niggas is having sex. It's a lot of us.
Wow.
Every last grandchild, great grandchild, great great grandchild, and every child, living child, and their spouse, and including the grandchildren's spouses and so forth and so on. Her policy covered everybody's full round trip ticket because she
Beautiful.
wanted to make sure that her family was at both of her services, one in Jersey and one in Florida where she's buried. So I don't know what these niggas is doing. We ain't raised no offering.
Brent, I'm gonna tell you this again, and I said this earlier, that there are some people who were so busy making sure that that was covered that they didn't have a lot of time to do all the unnecessary crap that's going on right now. And the Stella Awards were here about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and this was the funny thing. There were people who came here to be at the Stellas, right? Then we had that big cyber attack, and a lot of people couldn't go home. They had canceled flights, right? Well, people were here for 3 and 4 and 5 days because they didn't have enough money to purchase another ticket.
Prepared.
They didn't have enough money, and nobody knows when this is going to happen. But what I'm saying is just be ready. Just like, if something were to happen where they cancel your flight, do you have enough money to go to a hotel if they're not giving out vouchers? Do you have enough money to take a cab to the hotel if something happens? All of that stuff. And see, we don't think like that, because I tell you what, if I really didn't have the money and I'm thinking like that, if I know that I'm not going to have the money in case something happens, that's going to keep me at home.
Facts.
Yeah.
Because if I know I don't have anything to be proactive and to be ready to expect the unexpected, then the reality is I'm going to always make the mistake of not being ready, because I'm so busy trying to get in the midst of people that I don't understand that when I get into the midst of people, probably 99 to 99.9% of these people are not going to help me if I get in trouble.
Sure won't.
Right.
If my ticket falls through and I say, hey, listen, can you just spot? They're going to go, I ain't got no money to get home myself. I don't know if I can make it home. And this is what I'm saying.
Is giving away blowjobs, so you
Wait
can
a minute.
Well,
so
Jesus.
you can get a ticket to go
Giving
home.
those things away?
Mm-mm.
Who's giving them away, Brent? Who's
So,
giving
so,
them away?
so
You
my
don't
point
want me
is,
to make a you don't want me to do that.
I don't want to know who's giving away. I was just kidding.
Okay, because you know I don't care.
well,
Oh, God.
you have yet to learn not
for
to
the
ask a
after
question
party.
that you don't want the answer to.
Right. That's for the after
You haven't
party. Some
learned
things
that.
are
That
waiting for the
target
after
is
party.
messy.
So I'm just telling you all that I think a lot of times what I did when I was just heavy into the antics and the community of church, not ministry. That's not what I said. I said community, all of that. I think one of the things that I learned, a lot of people showed me what not to do. And funerals is one of them. And they showed me how to not be so quick to, embrace all of this, these antics. They're just never about the deceased.
Right.
They're always about who's walking in the door? Who's sitting in the front row? Who has the seat next to the family?
Why are people asking to sit on the front row at funerals? I never understood that.
That's weird.
Because they're so busy trying to be seen. And what I found out was when you are trying to be seen at a funeral, you've already died.
That's a good point.
You're already dead. You know why? Because you're trying to be seen by a dead person.
That is so
very
weird.
So what you have to understand is that every single time you walk up, like when my grandmother passed away, I came in and Scott, you were there, and I walked in the door. People didn't think I was coming because the weather was so bad or whatever. When I walked in the door, they had to drag me to the front because I said, "Leave me in the back. What are y'all doing? I don't want to go up there. I don't need to be up there. She ain't gonna care if I'm up there or not. She probably don't care that I'm here. But I don't want to go up there."
I'll get you though. Honestly, I didn't even go to my father's funeral. I wasn't there.
Yeah, if you and this is the thing. I just don't understand why is it that we spend so much time trying to be seen at a funeral when in reality don't nobody care about you when there ain't no dead body in the front.
Right. They don't care. They don't care at all.
This, my friend, is
They don't have no situation to where they remember you. And what I also know is that let's talk about this for 1 second. The reality of it is that I wish that I could do what another person did. And guess what? Not only will I not tell nobody I did it, but 9 out of 10 times I'm probably not coming. I want to be able to have that kind of cash flow where I can pay $50 and $60 and $80,000 for somebody's funeral and not even show up. Because now here's the other thing. If I did it, Jesus blessed people and said, "Don't tell nobody."
He did.
Listen,
don't tell nobody.
Because if you do tell people, and I preached about that last Sunday, if you do tell people, the Bible calls you a hypocrite.
And this is what I know.
And hypocrite, by the original definition, means actors. I would give them the academy.
Right. I would really rather be the person that did it and don't nobody have to say nothing about it. And you know why? Because I don't get a blast of energy from the fact that everybody's praising me. I don't get a blast from that. And my thing is, every single time y'all do stuff like that, when you insist on being the one that everybody sees, trust and believe, they're going to now take the focus off of what you did good. And now they're going to try to find something wrong with you. Most times, what's wrong with you is way more prevalent than what you did right.
But that's why I said in the church, man, majority of those people, there's a whole lot of people with low self-esteem in the church. They always want to get their name big. It's crazy. I want to be in the limelight. And honestly, if you look at the Bible, it talks about that. That is the spirit of Lucifer.
Well, they want the credit for something they didn't do.
They didn't do.
Right.
They want that. That's all Lucifer was. He literally came out the presence of God, and everybody
and a Jezebel spirit.
Everybody came out there looking at him he came out the presence of God, and they was like, "Man, you're beautiful. What happened?" He was like, "Oh, it's just me." So God said, "I tell you what, you and everybody that thought you was cute, get the hell out of here." And that's what happened.
That's what he said. And it's so sad that we have a place of worship where we're supposed to worship God, when in reality is a lot of these churches have the Luciferian spirit. It's like they want to shine bigger than God.
Yes. And listen, no.
Spirit, because it's very idolatrous.
And listen, they want to shine better, more than God, and people at these funerals want to shine more than the deceased.
That's the fact.
How about that?
And that's really all it is.
That's so true.
Now, I'm gonna say this because I know some of y'all messy on here, and that's fine. I know who y'all are.
Who's messy?
So
not us.
No, it's not y'all.
I know you're talking about
viewership.
I think he's seeing in the spirit.
Yeah. And I want to make sure. But
thank you for tuning in, messy people.
The bottom line is that I understand that there are a lot of people who want to come and pay their respects. I understand that there are a lot of people who, really want to just be there because it's popular to be there. you know. But when you really get down to the brass tacks of it, if only the people who really knew a person could show up, that room probably wouldn't be filled.
Okay.
Because as much as you
And can
know
I be
me,
honest with you?
just because we go to the same church does not mean you know who I am. It does
That's
not
Can I
mean.
be honest with you though? I would be
Please
okay
do.
with that.
Why not be
I would
fine
be
with
okay
it?
with that.
Why not be
Because it's
fine
just
with it?
like when my mom recently, when I finished my doctoral stuff, my mother threw a party. And as many people as I wanted to invite, nobody should have to put that kind of money out for a party.
Bro.
But she said, I need you to go through your list and make it make sense. And there were still people that I really wanted to be there, but I'm like, I really got to make this make sense fiscally. And we still had 100, it was like 105 people there. And I said to everybody here, I said, now, I know I'm going to get phone calls. I know I'm going to get text messages. I'm going to get FaceTime. I'm going to get everything from people asking, well, how come I wasn't invited? I said, please understand, if something were to happen to you right now, I know that everybody in this room would call my mother and be like, what do you need me to do? I know everybody in this room would have that. I said, and there's some people that are not here that I know would. There were some people that just legitimately could not make it. I said, but then there are a whole lot of other people that just want to show up just to see what the party looked like, just to see how much money was spent so they could have something else to talk about. And that's not what this is all about tonight. And I'm like, everybody let your hair down, have fun, enjoy yourself, eat, let's dance, let's have a good time. That's the way these funerals really should be. And people get mad when, like Michelle Obama, when her mother died, it was by invitation only because she did not want that foolishness there. It could have been a paparazzi frenzy. She did not want that. So it was not until the day of that even people like Pastor Donnie McClurkin knew where they were going. And they still couldn't tell the location until after the service was over.
Scott, let me tell you something. I was just thinking about this. People make me laugh. You ever notice how people always want to control your reaction to their bullshit?
People make me itch. They don't make me laugh.
You ever notice that? People always want you.
Every day, bro.
They always want to people always want to try to undermine. They always want to undermine how you respond. And there's a difference, Kevin. So let's go this way. But there's a difference between responding and reacting. And sometimes we react out of emotion. That gets us in trouble most times. But when you respond a certain way, a lot of people try to undermine your response because they still want to make you look dumber than they already are. And I think one of the things that you have said, I'm not irritated, but it's just funny. Sometimes when I see things, I just kind of get very like analytical and I start speaking intellectually. But it amazes me how some people have so much to say when they are the very culprits that are doing exactly what we're talking about. And it's grown folk. I'm sorry, I don't mean any harm or disrespect, but it is very funny to me how some people will always talk about others that are doing the same thing you're doing. It's just not your turn to have the spotlight on you. And
that part.
What kills me is that when we're talking about funerals, let's go to this other agenda. I do outside of what I do at home. So if I'm seeking attention at home and I don't get it, then I'm going to come outside and by any means I'm going to get it.
Bam. Right.
And it's funny to me how some people literally are still sitting here, even at your old ages, and you are still waiting for somebody to hand you something. You know, and funerals is one of them. I haven't lived in my mother's house in I don't know how many years. And what I have known about the whole thing is there are a lot of people who think they know Kevin because you might have known some mistakes I made. You might have known some things that I've done in the past. You might, but one thing that you had to do was always talk about my past because you never caught up to my present and you won't get to my future. That's the funny thing. You know what I'm saying? So people always have, Terrence says it best, it's not on here tonight, but Terrence always says, there are some people who have been in pause while you've been in play. So when you come back to them, they hit the pause button. They still talking about what happened 30 and 40 years ago, and you sit here and go, what are you talking about? I had one person in Patterson. I came back to Jersey back in 2017. Brother came back to me. He was like, man, what's up? Man, you sure grew up, man. You remember back in 91? No.
I have a hard time seeing what I did last week. He's about
Last week, you
91.
talking about 30 years ago? I don't know. No, I don't remember that.
Yesterday.
You know, but my thing is that there's some people who literally just insist on trying to make you believe that their BS is cleaner than your righteousness. I don't understand it, but it's funny to me because they do this kind of stuff, and then now we're talking about the funerals. This is what I'm saying. There are some people who literally will do anything to be seen at a deceased person's event. Funerals are not for the body.
Bro.
They're not. They don't care.
Yeah.
Funerals are for us to pay respects. So if you come to church and you sit in a church and they have the wake, right? They have a moment where you look. And if one person got up, let's say the child or the children of the deceased or the mother and father, if there's the only ones to talk and then they say we will now have the pallbearers come up, y'all will think this wasn't no funeral.
Bro,
They didn't do nothing. They didn't do nothing. They just had words and that was it.
I just told my cousin last week, on God I love, if some people get up there and they talk about me at my funeral, talking about, oh, I knew her, I told them by the end of the night, I'm going to haunt each and every one of them in their sleep.
I know that's right.
I mean it, because my thing is, where was you when I needed you?
And I needed
beside the fact of, oh, can you play on this? Can you give me a song? Can you? Nah, bro, you didn't really. So they all gonna have a nightmare on Elm Street, whatever street they live on, because I'm gonna haunt each and every one of them and they sleep.
I think that's the reason why we need to understand that a lot of people are just totally
selfish.
You know, I can't find a better word. They're selfish. They're narcissistic.
Yes.
They're entitled. They're just, you know,
they're demons.
I want to say to the families of Kirby Brown, Tiffany Noley, Kayla Evans, Demetrius Griffin, Cornell Gaskin, all these people who have passed away.
Michael Brooks.
Michael Brooks, everybody.
We just want to.
I didn't want to say that name because I didn't feel like getting somber, but I just want to say to all their families that we're praying for you. Some of y'all lost a son, you lost a husband, you lost your father was lost, a cousin, an uncle, a nephew, and a niece, a sister, a daughter. It's just so many things that they've lost. And the church can be so selfish sometimes because, like you said, we want to have 12 funerals, and we need to have this over here. We need And one person, like I said, they were like, just because people don't think enough of you, we don't know how many people come to your funeral. I said, I'm not going to respond to that. I'm just going to erase your message. That's all. Because if I can really get into what I know about you, and I talked about your mother and father, you may die right now.
Wow.
So I'll just say, let's just leave it where it is. We're not.
Brent's face.
Because
who was it?
All I'm going to say is that if you really knew who your mother and father were, you might have asked for different parents. But I'm not. We're not here for that. We're gonna keep it moving. Let's go to the next phase.
Oh Jesus!
That was deep.
I was watching the Olympics, y'all, and did y'all see
the man who nuts got caught up on that pole?
I still want to have that happen.
Well, let's talk about that. But what we need to talk about first was that a young lady, a female boxer, was fighting another female boxer, so she thought, only to find out that the female boxer was a male.
A whole man.
Nope, it's not true.
And what's not true? Go ahead.
That she's trans. That's not true. She's an actual female.
She's
now she is, right?
She's a female.
She's a
steroids.
So, oh no. All right. Well, here's what I'm gonna say to that.
Tanya said it's a man.
I hope everybody works it out. Let's move on to the next subject.
Kevin said,
No.
all right, short message, moving on.
But I
Yeah,
will
we-
say
we're
though,
done.
with the
We're
Olympics,
done.
can I say black girl power?
Black.
To see
Yes.
those
yes.
three
Listen,
girls
listen.
and
The Jamaicans, the Nigerians, the
these
Canadians,
Americans
these
And yes,
Americans, they
American.
ain't playing no games, bro.
at
They ain't
Not
playing
at
no
all.
all,
games. They ain't playing no
at
games.
Not at all.
all,
None.
We leaving with more gold medals than we thought we were. I
gold
tell you
and
that
silver.
much. And
And it's
silver, that's
about
right.
time.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm like, to see the black females dominating all these sports. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's the ladies' time right now. I got to take my hat off to them because
And I'm not mad at them.
game. They killing the game. All right, so we came on a little later, but let's talk about this. There are a lot of. I just found out. I read something today. But there are quite a few tours that are being canceled.
Including the Fugees.
And the Fugees are the last ones that I just read. That 3 days before the tour was supposed to start, they canceled it. 3
What's
days.
that about?
Crack.
Her.
3 days. Now let's go back. Do you all remember when Michael Jackson was getting ready for this This Is It tour?
Yep.
Mhm.
And they were days away from leaving.
And he
that
died.
man died.
Yes.
And I found out that a lot of these musicians were supposed to, in sum total, each of these guys was supposed to be getting close to almost $5 million.
500 each show was what this
For
is.
each show. So it was supposed to be like literally, because he wasn't doing a lot of shows.
He was only doing like 10 or 11 shows.
And they were supposed to all get the sum of $5 million.
I just want to stop and pray. I want to stop and pray right now, Jesus.
What are you
Amen.
doing?
That's amazing.
They were supposed to get $5 million
Don't be looking at me strange.
a show because they
Right here in this corner.
they
right
were literally like they had there was so many promoters and different kind of people that were going to be endorsing the concert and all this. They were all looking to make $5 million after it was over with. And when Michael Jackson passed away, that whole thing went away. Everybody had to go home. You know, so with these cancellations of these tours now, of course, they're not on that page, but there's a lot of tours that are getting canceled.
But this Fugees thing, that's big.
Well, it was
they
big.
had like a 40-show tour.
But it was big. But now, guess what tour has not been canceled, and they picking up shows, and that's Missy Elliott and Busta Rhymes.
Of course,
they picking up all day. But my question is, does that have anything to do with anything else? And that's all I'm saying. It's just like,
well, my concern is, because I know she's had a lot of deaths that she's had to deal with, Lauren specifically, this year. But my concern is, what are you doing to your reputation? It's already been jacked up because of all the stuff that you've done locally. Now you're supposed to be doing right. Now you're supposed to be doing a whole tour, and it gets canceled a week before y'all supposed to start. There's gonna be a whole lot of questions. And her name, it was Lauryn Hill and the Fugees. It wasn't the Fugees. It was Lauryn Hill and the Fugees. So your name is at the top of this.
So do y'all think she has a what is her problem? Is this a problem with time?
That's my question with Avery.
You gotta ask her. She the only one that could tell you.
But the crazy thing,
nobody else know.
From what I was told, and I say this, her grandson is like my second cousin.
Okay.
And so I had lost my cousin, his grandfather, last month. She
sang at the funeral.
But I was told that she almost didn't make it. So you're late for funerals too.
Lauryn
Hill.
To the funeral?
She was
she sang.
She did sing, but she was very late. And she was maybe a couple of seconds from not being on the program.
Can I say something real quick, Avery? Just a little excerpt. Like, I've been to 2 of her concerts, and both of them she was late, and I sat there and waited for her, and it was a great show after she got there. But is this a thing? Like, what the? I'm confused.
That's what I'm saying.
Lauren is on drugs.
What happened? Lauren's a hoe. What'd you say?
She's on drugs.
She's on Pacific time when we on Eastern Standard
Time.
Yeah, and she lives right here in Jersey.
In Jersey, right?
She lives in West Orange.
I think she on Hawaii time because that changes a little bit from Pacific time.
That's a
Let's be clear.
6-hour difference.
That's a 6-hour
I'm just
difference, right?
saying.
But I don't get it. And the sad part is, we talk about her, but there are people in gospel now. Like, you don't even have a name that are turning into
Yeah.
the same thing
Aw.
You right
and
about it.
showing up late. And I'm like, nobody, if you know that something starts at 5 o'clock, nobody should have to call you at 5:30 to say, where are you? Unless you legitimately had an emergency, you should be there.
And on the flip side too, a lot of them don't show up because they don't get their money. So it's like,
Well,
That's
then
what
there's
it
that.
is.
But then you have a lot of them that still expect to get
get their
paid in
money and
full
still
when they
not
show up
show up.
late. Sorry, no. That's
So
not the way this works.
here's what I want to say, that some of them ain't worth what they charging.
Then there's that.
Yo, I'm gonna be real. If you ain't Ty Tribbett and if you ain't DJ Catton, I ain't trying to see you, dog. They the
Some of
only
them-
two.
Some of them should not be getting what they're charging, and
Shouldn't.
and let me tell you this much.
How you been singing for 25
What I-
minutes and you trying to charge people $850 to sing 2 songs?
Well,
What?
first of all, wait. Let's go on that for a minute. Why are you charging top dollar to sing everybody else's stuff?
How about
Top
Then there's
dog.
that.
Bam. That's why I said what I said.
Why are you charging top dollar to sing somebody else's music like it's your music? The other thing is, why are you charging top dollar and then you showing up late? You have an attitude with everybody that was there before you were.
Ain't
I
And
mean,
then-
a pure
And
attitude.
when you get pushed to the back, now you want to put your stardom thing on. This is what I know. And I'm gonna tell you, I can speak from this. It's my show,
Lord.
so forget everybody. I've been with Frankie Beverly for a year, and I want to tell y'all something. As much of a prima donna or an idiot that man could have been all those years, for you to have been so successful for 50 plus years, and people still want to hear your music after you done sat down, and they still want us to go out here. I'm leaving Friday. They still want us to go out here and sing your music. And there's some people who want to come because they just want to see how it's being nurtured, but they still want to sing your music after you sat down. You're not even going to be there, and they still want to hear your music.
That's legacy.
And we still got shows coming up that you're not going to be at, but people are still coming because of one video they saw. Is people going, oh wait, that guy singing? Oh, okay, we definitely coming. And they're only coming because if you ever really paid attention, if you're not even really into it, you never heard Frankie Beverly's name in no scandal.
None.
You ain't never heard of him being involved in no publishing issues. He ain't never been involved in no, non-marital issues. He ain't never been in none of that.
None.
Right.
So these people still want to look at Earth, Wind, and Fire. They still want to see them decades after Maurice White done died, and we sitting up here and we still going to shows. We still see them. So here's what I'm saying. If you're gonna be in this position where you're looking up at this and everybody has to struggle to come see you, we gotta
Keyword,
struggle to come
struggle.
see you. We have to
Yeah.
struggle to wait for you. We gotta struggle to hear you. We gotta struggle to listen to you. We gotta struggle to look at you. We gotta struggle so much. But when you go to an R&B concert, and let's say this. Let's say it's Maze, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Let's say it's the OJs. And let's say it's Act 7. And everybody's sitting there from top to bottom waiting for everybody to come out there.
Bruh.
It's not
truth.
just about the music. It's
That's
about
the truth.
the integrity, because at the end
Yep.
of the day, if you have integrity, there's no stress to wait for you. There's no stress at all.
Babe, let me say something
Right.
else too. When you say struggle, that's some real stuff, because one of those concerts, it was like on a weekday and I had to work the next day. And I was like, oh my God, it's not even 1 hour. It's not 2 hours. It's like 3 hours late. And you come on there with no excuse. Come out like it was the time that you were supposed to come out there and sung every song. And I actually accepted you as if you sung every song on time. And it's a struggle because I gotta get up in the morning because you're gonna give me still a 2-hour show.
I'll never
Listen,
forget.
Stevie Wonder on Songs of the Key of Life tour, when he came to Newark, it was supposed to start at 8. Well, that's what the ticket said. Stevie intentionally came out at 8:15, and that man stayed on stage until 12:45. And the only reason why he got off stage is because they were like, we gotta go. We've been on stage an hour longer than we were supposed to. But we sat there and I mean, we sang and we danced and we enjoyed the whole night. Because again, your legacy says your music is worth it. And your showmanship says, I want y'all to be here. So I'm going to give you everything I got. Gladys Knight, same thing. I took my mother to see Gladys Knight earlier this year. 80 years old. And she still get up there killing. Was not late and gave us a full 90-minute set.
I'll never forget. I saw maybe like 4 years ago, 2020. Yeah, about 2020. It was Howard Hewitt, The Whispers, Stephanie Mills.
First of all, that's a good set right there. Howard Hewitt and The Whispers.
And Frankie Beverly was on there too. Frankie Beverly did not get up, bro, until 12:30, and it was still packed.
Yep.
To the end of the concert.
Avery, we was in Dallas and Frankie had a moment. He didn't know we were doing the show. And they literally, all them people in Dallas, Texas at I forgot the name of the venue, but anyway, they all sat in there. We were supposed to go on at 10:15. We didn't go on until 11:12. I said, when we walk out here, it's only going to be the janitors out here. Watch. Ain't nobody going to be out here. We walked out on that stage. The stage was black. I was tripping over wires, everything. And we got up to that joint when they turned them house lights on and it looked like one big white sheet of paper. Not one person left that theater. Not one person. But this is what I know about gospel music. What gospel music will do. See, Brent, you said it clearly. So let me put it this way. Here's my reality. I'll say it this way. A person who has money is not moved by how much something is.
That's right.
A person who spent their hard-earned money and had to save up to do this has an attitude when things are not done completely in the norm. And I've watched a lot of people, and I said, I want to see the behaviors of people that I know have money and people that I don't. And what I know about people who have money is they're very patient. People with money are very patient because money is not the problem. Money is not the problem. People who don't have money and people who are in a certain situation find everything wrong with everything. And when you come to a point where you're at a concert where you are looking and you're waiting for somebody, people with money are going, well, if this don't work out, let's see if we can go somewhere else. We all right.
Right.
A person who has no money goes, I paid $50 for this ticket. Something need to be happening, you know? And I'm like, now I understand. But those of us who work hard for our money, when we go out to enjoy ourselves, we want to enjoy ourselves. We don't want to be worried about what's going on here and there, you know? So when it comes to these Frankie Beverly concerts and the Whispers, I've been on stage with all of them. I promise y'all, I'm going to tell y'all like this. I have never seen a calmer state. I have never seen the in-house stuff, of course. You got different personalities. You're going to always have some issues with people. But when it comes to the joint effort of everybody, it's so clear that a lot of these gospel artists, are so busy being divas, so busy being, you know, I'm this and I'm that. Now you got people who don't want to see you because you're so busy trying to be something that you don't have the funds to be.
That's so true.
My question is, how many Grammys they got? Nope.
Hey, they spell Grammy.
Hey, they've never even been down the street when the Grammys was going on.
And we talk about Grammy Awards, not Grammy.
You can't even get a BET award. You got that.
You can't get an American Music Award, and that ain't been in existence in a long
You can't get a Dove.
So all I'm saying is that when we get to a place where we are so busy understanding that our character is way more important than being seen, a lot of people will see you when your character is of such. But when you out here always trying to make it look like you important to people, I know I lived in Nashville for 10 years. I know some Caucasian brothers and sisters who got millions of dollars that wear holes in their jeans. They wear the same T-shirt. They got on flip-flops. They ain't tripping off of you. You know? But we gotta always look like it's us, it's me, it's me. You know, I drew a habit. I wear white a lot now. I mean, just hit me. I ain't never owned this much white before. Now I can't stop buying it. But people see that, you know, there's a significance to that. It's like, and I go places. I'm here in Vegas. I go to these places now where I normally would pay $150 for 2 drinks. You know, I'm walking out of there paying $30 because of that. And I'm not going to stop wearing the white because it's helping. But my point is that.
And the entourage gets me, bro. That gets on my nerve.
Well, when I'm doing people wrong, I got to have people with me because I got to look over my shoulder.
Look over your shoulder. Yes, sir.
Hey, Brent, go ahead, man. Because we need to break the ice a little bit. Go ahead.
Break it down. Break it down.
Well, you know, I was just thinking about.
Oh no.
The last.
Tanya, where are you? Where's Tanya? Did she leave? Okay.
I don't know. Tanya's cooking. I was just thinking about the last gospel artist that I slept with, and good times. But anyway,
oh no.
As far as the entourages go, I don't understand a lot of things with the gospel community. But you know who I blame for this? We didn't start getting all these divas until Bobby Jones got off the air. You know, I mean, we had some, you know, like Vanessa Bell Armstrong back in the day. She talked about how difficult she used to be.
She was.
Right. And, you know, some other people, they talked about how they used to be. But now where are they? They are, you know, not even that relevant anymore. But I just think it's funny how gospel artists are not even recognized at some of these real award shows. You know, why can't we get the gospel section on the actual airing of the Grammys? Why does it have to be a whole different show?
Right.
You never see the gospel. You never like, and so then when you hear, oh, Grammy nominated or Grammy winner, well, because I just watched the Grammys, they didn't even do a gospel section. So when did you get a Grammy?
Right.
You know, and I think too that I said this about somebody else that I know, and I said this to this individual. I said it must really sucks that everybody sings your music and everybody knows you, but nobody will acknowledge you.
Ooh.
It must really suck. Like, everybody knows who you are. Everybody is singing your music. Everybody is paying homage to you, but nobody is recognizing you. That must really suck. So I get it. You know, they build up this I'm better than the next person persona. Oh, I gotta be a diva. I have all these requirements. And, you know, yeah, I get it. I get it. But then I don't get it. Because then you have people, like you said, that have longevity. Patti LaBelle travels with her own pots and pans so that she can cook food for her band and her singers.
I'm a witness. I was there for a whole year. You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
And I know the heifer can cook.
Oh, Lord.
And so,
man,
you mean to tell me Patti the LaBelle is going to be that humble? And you have I don't know. I almost said a name, but I'm not going to do that. You have somebody in gospel music and you can't even sign an autograph? I don't know.
Kevin, your mama's calling. So yes, I agree with you, Brent. I'll be over here like hearing other things like Grammy nominated. I didn't even know that even happened. I'm with you on that. I'm completely with you on that. I forgot what we were saying.
So with that being said, what we have to, I thought you was finished, and I cannot. Damn, when you act like that, boy, it's all.
No, I was saying something.
What was you saying? What was you saying?
I forgot.
All right, I knew what I was doing.
She wanted. Never mind.
Yeah, Brent. I think the biggest part about this is, and there was a tribute I did a couple of years ago, and there was one particular person I was doing a tribute for, and the pushback I got was just, I just could not believe the pushback I got. I could not believe the pushback I got.
I remember.
And it's so funny to me how some people want to take the position of being high and mighty when you are the villains. You are the ones that are committing the crimes, but you want the victims to look like they are the villains. You want to make it look like what happened they did to you. You didn't do it to them, and that's not what happened. And I think one of the biggest things about it was that I was honoring somebody that was very much so worthy of honor, very much so. And the people that pushed back are people that I would not have known had it not been for this person doing what they did.
That's
I
right.
wouldn't have even known who you are if this person didn't do what they did. I would not have even had an inkling of who your person was. And when I tried to honor this individual, the way that I got the pushback was, well, if we ain't doing this, then I'm not coming. Well, if we ain't participating, I'm not coming. If we're not going to be able to do just all this stuff. And I kept saying, but the reality of it is, let's be clear, this individual made you relevant.
Wow.
They made you relevant. We found out who you were because they thought enough of you to ask you to become a part of what they were doing.
Oh.
So for you to turn around and develop this mentality, like, you know, we're going to go ahead and make this work, and, you know, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that. I said, okay, well, guess what? It will go on without you because it'll go on without me, and I'm the one putting it together.
You know, everybody's mad at the bear, but nobody takes the time to ask the bear how many times he's been poked.
Right.
Absolutely. And what I also know is that people don't like when people react or respond to your BS. But the truth and fact of the matter is sometimes the high road ain't the road that some people want to take. They're going to come back after you. You know, you just said it. You know, it's very much clear to me that, and I'm going to tell y'all what, I'm very tired. I saw this. There was a wrestler. There was a wrestler who literally came on. He was walking out the ring, right? He was walking up the ramp to go back, you know, backstage. And he was walking in front of the camera. And he said, I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of giving everybody a chance. I'm tired of making people think they got a chance. I own this ring. I own this ramp. I own this camera. I own it all. And I'm letting y'all be here because I want you to be here. If I didn't want you to be here, you wouldn't be here. And I'm sitting up here looking and I'm like, wow, he is upset. No, the problem was that he got tired of being nice. He got tired of, you know, being the guy that everybody could talk to any old kind of way. They could do all, you know, he got tired of that. And then what happened was he started speaking on what he experienced. Brent, you just said they poked the bear so much, but why don't they go and ask the bear how many times has he been poked?
Right.
You know, what made you upset? What pissed you off? Don't nobody want to deal with that because I know I'm first in line to say I messed up. So I don't want that responsibility. You know, but in gospel music, we are very quick to point fingers at people, to tell people that this is what happened, this is what went on, this is what's going on. And realistically, when you get to the brass tacks of it, you ain't worth what you charging. Because if you really want to be honest, I know some people who have never been on a label that will out-sing you and get God to come into the room quicker than you will. Because you got to do 10 and 12 songs before we recognize that you even know who God is.
Yeah, well.
You understand what I'm saying? So I just think a lot of these gospel artists, and I'm going to tell you what really irritates me. What irritates me is some of these gospel artists that know my resume is longer than their social security number. They try to look down on me. And I'm sitting up here going, as much as you think you're worth, you know, there are people in high rises, in high places that have no clue who you are. They don't know you. All they know is you're another monkey in the show. That's all they know.
Monkey?
That's all they know. That's all they know. I have some people that are connected. Well, like the next to me, that they get very nasty when people come around and they get very divified. Sweetheart, nobody would know who you are. The only time they find out who you are is when they mention Lorraine Stansel and go, "Are you related to her?" That's when they find out who you are, when they ask you who Lorraine is. So whose name is what? I'm sorry.
You right
Not
about
sorry. You know, I just think it's very clear to me that we have to understand, despise not humble beginnings. Don't get so high and mighty that you ain't got no earthly value. Don't do that.
My
Right.
God, he
Don't
came
do
just
that.
in the nick of time.
Don't say that either. Man. I don't even know why you said it. But I
I'm just telling
just
you what he did for me.
okay. That's what he did to you. All right, that's what he
He
did.
came in the nick of time for me.
That's absolutely. And that's it. I'm not going no further. I'm not going no further. I'm not going no further.
Don't.
I just rather not.
Respectfully,
Let's move on. Let's move on.
just say this as a pin on the end of that conversation. When you're talking about people knowing who you are, you're connected. With respect to everybody that's in this panel, if I point at Scott and I point at myself, respectfully, just between the three of us, we've covered the globe.
And who is three of us? You, Scott, and who?
And you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Respectfully, we've covered the globe.
We'll praise him, Elder Kitchens.
We don't walk around with a patch on our back, and it's not in my, you don't hear me list everything in my Facebook profile. But Kevin, have I misspoken?
Nope.
Okay. And I don't know the resume of everybody else that's in here this evening. So
let me say this though. What we have to understand is that I found this out. People who have never been anywhere don't know how to act when they get somewhere. And if I ain't never been nowhere, then I wouldn't know how to act in certain places. And that's just that. You know how to act in church because you've been there all your life. So you know how to act in church. You know what to say to get people to run and shout. You know what to say. You know what to say, and you know how to say it. You know when to say it. And it's like we have to basically get to a point. Is everybody all right? We have to get to a point where we fully understand that a lot of what's going on now is becoming this narcissistic see me. I used to live in Southern California, and it never ceases to amaze me how many people are willing to break the bank to be relevant. I got to be seen in this car. I got to be seen. One person told me, I get what I want from my mother, so whatever I want, I get it. And you are a grown man. And I was like, so who you gonna be when your mama gone? What are you gonna be then? Who are you
confused?
Gonna be? Yeah,
It's
we're not
his
gonna
initials.
In-laws.
His initials, TJ.
No.
Okay.
No. Okay, no. No.
Oh, I may have went left, but
No. And that has happened before, but no.
With that person.
With that person, yeah. No.
That's all I wanted to know.
That's not who I was talking about. But
next, sorry.
But I just I just don't understand. And I told Terrence this when I was 20. I moved to Oakland. I think I was 22 years old. And when I was 22, I kept looking at things like, when you 50 and you 55 and stuff, you got to really have yourself together. You got to be together. Like you got to really have yourself right. When you 50, when you 45, 46, you got to really have. Man, when I got up
when
here,
you 35,
I was like, you mean to tell? I thought I was getting up here to meet y'all to really be in the mix. It's a lot of people. I'm talking about in the church. It amazes me how quick I've watched this happen, Terrence. When we used to go to the Madison Ford Diner and the Towers Diner in Little Falls and all of that, how some people how some people in the greatest garments, in the greatest shoes, and I mean just phenomenal, and they would whisper to you, "Hey man, get me on this one. I'll catch you on the next one." Never ceases to amaze me.
Dressed to the nines.
And I'm like, if you took your shoes off, you could pay for that cheeseburger deluxe if you put them shoes back.
Shoes could pay for the whole table.
For the whole thing, basically. 9 people. Basically. And what I didn't realize was that sometimes you just got to go home. You just got to go home. You know what? I ain't got it on me. I'm just going to go home. Hey, we going out to eat. I'm going home. You know, hey, we're going out here. I'm going home.
Peanut butter sandwich and my half a glass of milk and be happy.
I've seen people go. There were people. I've seen it happen. There were people who were mad at me. Literally, I just don't get it. How are you gonna be arrogant about a trip you didn't pay for?
That part.
I get that.
How you gonna be arrogant about a trip that your friends had to pay for, but you're gonna look at me crazy like, well, I'm going. Well, can you go? Why you can't afford to go, nigga? You can't afford to go. This is by the grace of God. Somebody had a good home. Why don't you come with us? You know what I'm saying? But it's people like that, and they in Jersey,
and New York,
and there were people. And there were people.
California,
DC, Atlanta.
Listen, there were people. There were people driving somebody else's car asking me for gas money.
Because they had to put money in there. Let's be clear.
How you got somebody else's car? Man, one time, oh God, Kevin, this is the church, right? One time I was going to get something to eat, and I had a brand new card, Bank of America, Lord Jesus.
I hate that.
And I had a brand new card. And I went to go to the restaurant to pay for the food, and it declined. I forgot to activate it. That's all.
Oh.
That's all. That's all. And I said, I don't know what the problem is. There's over $3,000 on this card. I don't know. I'm lost. Like, what is the problem? The man said, sir, this looks like a new card. Have you activated it?
Did you activate it?
I said, oh, you know what? Maybe I did. He said, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to help you out. Call this number right here. They'll do it right over the phone. I said, okay. He said, but there's a bank right across the way right here. And you can go over there and you can activate it with the ATM. All you got to do is put it in, put your PIN number. You're good. Right? I said, okay. But the person on the other end of the table had the nerve to have an attitude.
That didn't plan to spend a dime toward the meal in the first place.
And I said, well, wait a minute. Wait. I said, well, wait a minute. Where's your money at? Because you could pay for your half. This is just meaning I got to go get my money. But you should be okay. Right. You had none. So you got it. So you thought you were going to get a free meal from me. So now I want to say this, and I learned this lesson. People who get upset with you not helping them, they're not just mad at the fact that you couldn't help them. They are upset with the fact that they could not help themselves.
Listen, I have a standing rule when it comes down to especially going out and stuff like that. If regardless of what I think someone else may do on my behalf, and God knows there have been many occasions where people have just blessed me, and I'm grateful, humble.
Well, we'll be humble when your Wi-Fi acts right. We don't know what's going on right now.
I'm just well, it's not my
At
Wi-Fi.
the church.
It's the church. Anyway.
Oh, there you go.
You are a part of the church.
No, I'm an employee of the church.
I'm just kidding. You're right.
Let's be clear. But what I was saying is that I've never sat down to a table if I didn't know that I could handle what I needed to handle for myself. I would never embarrass myself nor any of the persons that
embarrass yourself. That's right.
I would never.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't order anything you can't afford to pay for.
Exactly.
How about that?
Scott, you know, we have sat down at many a table together, and even if I've been treated or whatever the case is, I've never sat down at a table where I was not prepared.
Let me tell you something.
One of my friends and I always say the same thing. If we going out and money is an issue, we ain't got no issue. Because if I got an issue, I'm not going to the table.
I'm not going. Okay, I want to say this. There have been times that I have paid. There have been times that Tanya has paid.
Mm-hmm.
There have been times. There have been times.
Sure.
There have been times when I said I ain't got it, and she said, "Well, I do." There's been times where she said, "Kevin, I ain't got it," and I said, "I do." There's been times when we said neither one of us got it. We
Neither
gonna
one
stay
of
out.
us got it.
Right.
And there's
Peanut butter
and,
jelly
and,
sandwich.
let me be clear.
No.
There's been times when we both got it and we just stayed ourselves at home, like this past weekend. It was a great time of rest.
Listen to me. Listen to me. This is what I want to say.
They remain at the rest of the people of God.
Amen.
I keep telling people that you spend too much money to keep a roof over your head.
Oh my God.
So why are you going to leave that roof to go and pay for somebody else's dream to struggle when you get back to your roof?
You
That's
paying for
stupid.
somebody else's roof.
I don't understand. All for the sake of saying I went out.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't part of the program tonight, but this is what gospel folk do. This is what church folk do. I didn't say the church, I said church folk. I didn't say the church. That's not what I said. I said
Come on,
church
Ty
folk.
Trivet.
Somebody gonna try to mix that up and get that.
Oh, they will, but you know I don't
Ty
give two monkeys' arms. But the bottom line is that that's what I'm talking about. Terrence, you remember when I was a kid, I hated dressing up. I did not like putting on suits and I couldn't stand that crap.
Nope.
Shout out to John Peters and them because they're the ones that influenced me on that. But anyway,
Yeah.
I hated wearing suits and stuff because I saw kids in high school and kids on the street wearing Timberlands and jeans, and that looked cool to me. I was like, I don't want to wear no bell-bottom pants and no shoes and I don't want to wear none of this stuff. I don't want to do none of that. I don't want to do none of that. So I would much rather just wear something that I want to wear. But what I saw was there were a lot of people in suits and ties and, flowing dresses and all this other stuff that was keeping up more scandals than anything.
Help us, Lord.
And just as broke, I'm telling y'all, there was a place called Madison Ford Diner in Patterson.
Wonderful.
And after every concert, everybody would go there. And that bill would come, and I ain't never seen. You want to see people join together? Let that bill come when it's time to pay. You want to see a lot of people holding hands that ain't never held hands before.
This was before we had the cell phone. Everybody was scratching out stuff with a pencil on a napkin.
Yes, sir.
Now I had such and such and so.
That's right.
And such.
That's right.
I mean, it's.
That's right.
I've experienced this. I've seen this.
And all I'm saying is that that's my whole point. We would rather spend, going back to the funeral thing, Terrence, we were talking about that. I would much rather you see me at a funeral and be seen at a funeral than to keep my tail home and pay my bills. If my rent can't be paid because I'm trying to take you out, you and I ain't going out. That ain't happening.
Just that simple.
It's not happening. And if you get mad at me for trying to keep a roof over my head, then don't come back under my roof.
Ooh.
Don't come back under my roof. I've always said a woman that has a problem with how a man makes his money shouldn't spend it.
Say that one
so
more
if a woman that has a problem with how her man makes his money should never spend it.
Somebody in the back row didn't hear you. Say it one more time for the back row.
A woman, watch this. A woman who has a problem with the way her man makes his money should never spend it.
Brent got the lean rock. I see you, sir.
And
look at Brent. Look at Brent. Look at Brent. His face is doing something.
His face is saying it all.
And a man that has a problem with the way his wife makes money shouldn't control it.
And Brent is saying a man that has a problem with another man spending his money. I think that's what Brent is saying. What you saying?
What you got to learn sometimes. Just let people talk.
Speak it into
just let Brent talk. He gonna tell you exactly what he thinks.
Come on, sir.
You don't have to say anything. He gonna tell you.
You're right. Let me stop interpreting.
Go ahead, Brent. Go ahead, Brent.
It's so good to see you, Elder Kitchens. We didn't welcome you.
He just jumped right in. We normally don't.
I know.
But Brent was I on a roll?
You were on a roll. Now you weren't on my street.
He always late, so we never welcome
on a roll.
Okay, I'm gonna go this
you
way.
On a roll.
I
mean, for me, I just always, if you ain't got the money, I'll just pay for it because I need that happy ending. at the end of the evening.
Oh
So
no,
it's
I gotta go
here,
get my
take this
juice.
card,
Hold on.
let's go. I don't I'm the friend where when we go out to eat, I'm always the first one to just pull out my car and be like, here, because 9 times out of 10, I'm ready to go. I gotta pee.
Exactly.
It's like a whole lot of stuff. Take my card. Let's
Just
swipe. I'll sign. Everybody, if you want to send your money to me, you can. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. We ain't got to discuss it. You ain't even got to
You
send
know, I'm
all your
here
money
for
for
a
the
good
bill.
time, Brent. Exactly. I'm here
You
for a
ain't even
good
got to send
time.
all the money for your part of the bill. If you only got
Yep.
$20 and you had a $70 meal, listen, it's
Come
already
on.
paid for. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Here's the card. Let's go. Let me sign. Let me add this tip. Here's my cash app. Send whatever you want to send, and let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
That's
Come
me.
back,
So
Kevin.
I might be the wrong person to go out to eat with, because
I'm the same way.
when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. It's just
Same.
like I don't have time for nobody to be stuttering about no bill. Because two, I also understand when I was in the position of where I wanted to go fellowship and I wanted to be a part of, but I didn't have, and I was too embarrassed to say that I didn't have, and I'm in the middle of, I'm ordering salad or the cheapest thing on there, and I'm trying to text my mom or my brothers or something like that to say, hey, can I borrow $20, whatever like that, just because I
That is
wanted to be a
terrible.
part and I wanted to go out and I didn't want to be
Shouldn't have been there.
embarrassed. I know what that's like, and it's like, no, I probably should not have went, but I wanted somebody to be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take care of the bill tonight. Y'all just send all of it to me or whatever like that. And some people never would. So now I make sure that I'm always in the position to where nobody will be embarrassed. Nobody. If you
Right.
got it, cool. If you don't, cool. It's taken care of. We ain't got to talk about it. You don't owe me no money. You don't got to pay me back. It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, if I help you, if I helped you at least get a meal, I think that shows real friendship and real love for somebody. If
For
I
sure.
make sure that you have eaten, that means I care about you as an individual. You ain't got to pay that back to me. When I go to my mom's house or my grandma's house or whatever like that, when I go to my parents' house or my grandparents' house or family member's house, I don't ask, can I go in the refrigerator? No. You go in there and get what you want. So I don't know. I might be the wrong person to go out to eat with because, like I said, I kind of get impatient. And then while we sitting here dividing the bill, you had $100 worth of food, bitch. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm
that
sorry. I'm so
No, but
sorry.
see, I'm always that person. Like, if we go and sit down, don't come to me and say the bill is $400 and it's 5 of us here, and then you turn around and say, "Well, I only ate $30 worth of food." No, that's not what we doing.
We're splitting this thing.
If the bill is $400, we split it 5 ways. It's $80 a person. You got to understand, and especially anybody that knows that they travel with me, I don't eat everything, and I only eat a certain caliber of food because I just believe, especially eating late at night, I can't just eat just anything. I don't need to be dealing with no health issues. I don't need to be dealing with no
No,
extra weight, all that
no.
stuff. So if I'm going to sit down at a restaurant, understand you gotta have. If I'm sitting down at a restaurant or a diner, I'm gonna be sitting down with money. That's just me because I know what I want to eat and I know what I'm gonna put in my body. But if you're gonna sit with me, understand that I'm not always gonna just pull out my card and just say, "Oh, I'm gonna take care of it." Or you should not sit down expecting that I'm gonna do that.
That's right.
Even if I am gonna do it, don't expect it
part
because
right.
now you're looking at it from a perspective of usury,
Yes.
and I ain't got time for users.
Entitlement.
You know what? I found out that there's some people who will only stick around when they know you have money.
That's true.
And I've dismissed a lot of them in the last 3 years.
And what I found out was,
That's
again,
right.
I'm
being
strategically
where I'm
unavailable.
at, I just know now that, and here's the truth. If I could get my stupid money back,
Mm.
No,
I'll probably
Could buy a
be
house.
okay because
yes.
It would be a significant amount of money.
I look at I had to really pay attention to the fact that there were a lot of people who were not on my level that I climbed down the ladder to get to.
Yep.
But I gave them things that, I forfeited myself because my thing was, and I've said this quite a few times, I've given of myself because we all want to know that somebody cares about us at some point. But I've grown to this level that there's some people that don't even deserve your attention. In the church, we are willing to gain attention from people who don't care, who don't like us, who want to see you fail. They want to see you fall. And we're still trying to gain their attention. And, to a man, money is a lot of things. To a man, you know how some women feel like they're not significant because certain things are not in place. Well, when a man does not have any money, he's not easy to deal with. There are some men, when they have a lot of money, they're not easy to deal with because they feel like, because I got the money, I make the rules. I make the, it's me. It's me, But the truth and fact of the matter is that money only enhances who you really are. And
Kevin, by the way, you just became my thought of the day for tomorrow. I like that. Never climb down the ladder to attract the attention of people who don't deserve it.
Yeah. You can't because we're all giraffes on here. We kept breaking our neck to cut our air off to reach turtles. And if you're dealing with a turtle and you're a giraffe, you do understand that you got to go all the way down to hear what a turtle is saying. And by that time, you may not make it back up because if you didn't hold your breath long enough, you cut your air off.
That's right.
And now here you are struggling, trying to breathe because you done got entwined with somebody who ain't worth your air. So that's that. I think a lot of times we just don't give ourselves enough credit. I know people are trying to somewhat hang around me now because of what I'm into, but what I do is not who I am.
That's the truth.
And we have to understand that, when the stage lights go out, the stage is closed, the arenas are closed. When I'm home, trust me, who I am in here, I'm not out there. And that's all. You're only getting 70 to 75 minutes of what you think I am. After that, the other 22 hours and some change.
Right.
I don't know if you remember me say this before, but for me, and I say this in a way that helps keep me grounded, regardless of where I've gone, regardless of who I've been around, who I've been associated to. Garbage goes out on Sunday nights and Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
And guess who is the chief custodian in charge of putting garbage out? Me. So again, respectfully to all the things, and again, not this group. I'm saying if there's somebody, if you're that interested, Google me. You'll see some of the things that I've done. Point is, I've never allowed those types of circumstances to all of a sudden set some false reality on what everyday life is for me. I got to put the garbage out on Sunday night and on Wednesday night. My wife will holler at me about dishes in the sink as quicker than anybody. A couple of Kevin and Scott know her, and Avery too. They know her well, so I'm not lying on the woman. She has no problem with keeping me grounded. So if I did get that mindset, it's not going to last. It's not going to last.
One thing for sure is you can't walk into a department store or wherever you pay your bills and say, "Hey, I'm so and so, I'm such and such."
Exactly.
It doesn't work. It just doesn't. They don't care.
You're right.
They are not in the least bit plussed by your so-called status.
No,
they don't care.
Like, Paul, I know. Jesus, I know.
Who you?
But who are you?
Right.
That part right there. Yeah, again, persons like Scott, like Kevin, like myself. Again, I don't know everyone else's resume to the same level, but the point I'm making is, I'm sure we all have those moments in our lives that were significant to us, and we're grateful that God gave us the opportunities and opened those doors. But you can't get so full of yourself off of that to the point where now you start, again, dealing in some false reality or falsehood of what daily life is like.
Right.
I have to pay my utility bill just like anybody. I do not get to say Jesus paid it all and order him out. They say, well, he didn't pay your part. If you don't pay it, you'll be worshiping your Jesus in the dark.
Right.
You'll be worshiping in the dark.
That's a thing now. They like to cut the lights off in church, so that's a thing now.
Yes, they'll cut them off. Now they can do it remotely. I don't know. Like in our area, they've upgraded our utilities to the point they don't have to come out and cut nothing. They hit a button and it's done. and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
Just
bro.
like that, Brent. You're in the dark. That's
Yeah.
what you said. Yes.
I just I'm glad that we reached that point where we understand that, you know, and again these videos don't go down. But I just think people need to really pay attention to the fact that one of the greatest ways these days to live is to be humble, because you just never know. You know, your trials may not come through death; they might come through finances. They may come through a lot of stuff. And I just think a lot of times we just need to be careful about how we handle that, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, hard times happen to all of us.
That's right.
Don't they?
We have to be very careful about, you know, having. I was talking to Tony about this the other day. Walter Payton had all the money in the world. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. He was a, you know, they named one of the NFL emblems after him. You know, all this stuff. That man did not have enough money to get somebody to give him a kidney, and he died. Period. He was looking for a kidney, and he never found one. All the money, all the notoriety. He was a pillar in the NFL.
It doesn't
did
mean
not have. No,
Yeah.
he had not enough money to get a kidney, so that he might be alive today had somebody just said, okay, you know what, I'm going to give him a kidney.
Right.
Never could get one. And all of that notoriety, and he had insurance, and he was taken care of. You know what I'm saying? Like, all things were lined up. But what he really needed, he couldn't get. You know, so we have to be very careful, man, because, you know, these churches will have you believing you all right when you all wrong.
That is true.
You know, everything is just a bold-faced mess. So I just got to a point where, you know, when you deal with this kind of stuff, it can humble you. We talked about the funerals, we talked about the boxer, we talked about the cancellation of tours. Always want to leave.
I want to laugh a little bit. I want to laugh.
I always want to leave on another note.
Did you say dummy of the week, or is that me? I don't know.
You said what?
Dummy of the week. I'm looking at the crawl.
Yeah. Let's go to that, because that's gonna be fun.
That's me. Anyway, it's just.
What did you do? What did you do?
I got up and breathed.
Oh.
And you know, some days that's all it takes.
It's a lot of people that ain't breathing.
Unpack that, cousin.
Brandon, you gotta be careful when you throw those things out there, because the anointment hits me. Praise the Lord, hallelujah.
I'm just saying what I know.
Well, as Mr. Brown said in one of those movies, you know, we got to be careful, because people's dying today ain't never died before.
That ain't never died before.
That has to be one of the dumbest statements I've ever heard, but it's the truth.
It's true. You can't do nothing but say, you know what, he ain't lied. He ain't told no.
It's 10:27 where I am, 11:27 on the East Coast.
Yes, it is.
What time is it over there where you at, Kevin?
8:27.
8:27.
Yeah.
It's sleepy time.
I wonder what Dorothy Norwood doing right now.
Oh.
Sorry, who? I didn't hear you.
Where's she at, Brent?
I don't know.
What
Probably
color is
under
she
her
on?
hood in the engine, probably fixing her oil or something. I don't know. You know, that's a strong man of God. Let's talk about how Shirley Caesar carried on at this funeral.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's what he said.
What happened?
How Shirley Caesar carried on at Kirby Brown's funeral in Virginia.
I've seen nothing. I don't know anything about. I knew there was a funeral, but I don't know any details.
It was pure comedy.
Okay.
It was pure comedy. Like, some people was upset, some people was pissed, but it was pure comedy to me. Shirley got up there, and if you go on YouTube and you look at just her set, just
when
her
she saluted
clip,
him,
just her clip on YouTube is 20 minutes and 32 seconds.
Yep, that's Shirley
Just
though.
her.
Anybody that knows her, and at this point, Shirley 87 years old. She can do what she want to do.
She don't care.
Well, she been stopped.
I've been doing this for 65 years. What they gonna do?
Who gonna check you?
She didn't have to come. So
and then there's that.
I canceled the show to be here with you, peasants. So I'm gonna take my time. I
I'm gonna
love
get
that
my
kind
20
of.
minutes.
I love that kind of. They kept trying to shoo her away.
Tell me what she do. What did she do? Give me some
Ooh,
context.
wee. So she was at Caribbean funeral. She was on the program. This is the one in Danville, and
Yeah, because that's closer to. Yeah.
yeah, and she had to sing. She was on the program to sing or just give words. I really don't know what she was on the program for, but it is what it is. But baby, she got up there, she talked, and she got up and she talked and sang. I mean, did a mini concert. The choir was confused. Baby and her hair was all over the place. It was just like a mess. And it was just so good. And they kept trying to rush her off. Then Biddy called one of the Ray sisters, who I feel like are the last saved sisters in the
One of the
gospel.
raves. Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
was it Angie Ray that got up and sang
No. Boy.
Dang.
with her, and it was just so funny to me. Like I literally was at the point of tears from laughing so hard. It
Wow.
was just
Yeah, because I'm
it's
sure Biddy and Shirley were together.
I ain't heard Avery say one laugh today. What you thinking, Avery?
He done laughed a whole bunch of times. You ain't paying attention.
Apparently, I missed it.
you see how you try me, Tracy.
I
That's
knew something
special,
was going
Tracy.
on. I just didn't know what it was. I minded my business.
You see how
Tracy
you
got
try
another one
me.
on.
Paul said, "What I want to do right."
Evil is always present.
Sometimes you gotta be a choice, though,
Tracy,
bro.
hey, Brent, when you want to do right, Tracy always show up.
I'm telling you.
Now, why y'all bother
word come
Tracy? Tracy
alive?
don't bother nobody.
Oh,
You
that
done
ain't
missed the
true.
whole
That
conversation,
ain't
brother.
true.
After party, she be like, I wanted to say, I'd be like, you got something to say today.
And then she just throws up. Yeah,
Oh,
baby.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's that good old anorexia acid throw up too. You know, that
Lord Jesus.
I've
stomach
been there.
lining.
I've been
Oh
there.
my
God
I've
God.
been there.
Almighty.
Tracy,
Well, I guess congratulations to everybody that passed away recently. You've made
Wait
it,
a minute.
and
Okay.
I guess we'll see you in the morning. I don't know.
See, and that's the problem, man. Everybody that died don't go to heaven.
Some of them people are in hell,
Yeah, exactly. That's especially some church folk. They don't go to heaven like you
and
Listen,
this
think
is
they
no
do.
judgment. I'm
everybody,
judging
In
them
hell, they will
according
live
to
in
the
death.
Bible.
Let me say
everybody's
it.
gonna,
Speak, Avery.
everybody gonna,
Speak, Avery.
Let me say it. Terrence, let me say
go
it.
ahead.
Terrence,
Say
let
it.
me say it. I want to say it from this vantage point. Terrence said for years he's been saying this. Everybody's going to heaven. Everybody ain't staying.
Ain't staying.
That's a fact.
You have to meet. You have to go before the
You
judgment.
got to meet them before you leave them.
You're gonna get
That's
a
the
glimpse.
Bible.
Either he gonna
That's the
say
Bible.
welcome, or he gonna tell you to go to hell.
Can I just say it
Or
like he might
revoke.
say? He gonna say, "All right, nigga, come on in." Nigga, who you? Get the who you?
Ooh,
Listen,
Lord have mercy.
the one thing I found out was that, and that's another situation. We'll use it for another time, but if I can just throw this in there, I want to know. I want to know. What I do know is that a lot of people that, especially in the gospel music industry, I'm gonna tell you what I felt kind of messed it up. The first time I saw Yolanda Adams on How I'm Living,
Mm.
I feel that because at that time, the most craziest person out at that time when it came to gospel music, the person who was too radical and too out there was Ty Tribbett. And, because Ty was standing on podiums and stuff. We got put out of a lot of churches because of that. He was standing on podiums and he was just wild, radical. I don't want to use wild. Man, that's my brother. He was just wild. He was radical.
Extreme. He was extreme.
But when They showed Yolanda Adams' house, and then they started showing all these other gospel artists. That's when I knew that now what we have done is we have tried to tell people that if you ain't living like this,
That's true.
you ain't living. If it's not like this, you ain't living. And like I said, I lived in Southern California for 10 years, right? And what was so crazy to me was before I moved to LA, everybody from LA was like, yeah, Kev, you know, we do this out in LA, we do that, yeah. You know, Kev, you should move there. Yo, we like this, we like that. They just try to show you all the glitz and glamour, right? When I came to Ontario, California, when I first moved there, I didn't know that everybody was living with their mama.
Mm.
And if they wasn't living with their mama, they was living off of somebody. Most
Can
of
I
these
say something
guys had
about Yolanda?
most of these guys had roommates.
Mm.
There were two guys, sometimes three guys living in an apartment. Two had a room and one had the couch.
And some of them were sharing the same bed.
Well, we ain't gonna talk about that right now, baby. We're not gonna talk about that part.
Can I talk about Yolanda?
I'm not
Because a
ready
lot
to
of people also forget that Yolanda, before she became this gospel music icon, Yolanda was also a teacher.
She was a teacher.
She was
right?
absolutely.
And a model.
So she had additional monies. It was not just coming from the music.
Right.
Listen,
Music
it
was
never
blessing her at the latter end of her career.
It never does. And I want to tell y'all this.
She comes
from
from
the time, from what I know about gospel music, this is what I know. History would tell us that gospel music was never a genre of music where people made millions of dollars just off of it alone. That has never been the case. I want everybody to understand
it's a very short list of gospel artists that could say
and
but really were able to have some kind of level of whatever, you know, from
gospel.
Truth be told, most of them that got it, that had nothing to do. It was production, it was publishing, it was they created other businesses.
It was always that. It was never about I'm making money from just singing on this stage. Now I have to go with what I know. I can't go with, you know, what I heard. I can only go with what I know. My mother has been killing stages for years. My mother has been slaying pulpits for years, more than that. My mother has been doing that. But Lorraine Stansel Lawson just retired a couple of weeks ago.
From 30
after working for the Passaic County Board of Education for 37 years. She's been working for the Board of Education. There were times when my mother would get off of a plane and not even go home. She would make a lot. She would get off the plane, get to whatever car she was going to, and she would go to work. She'd come home and go to work with suitcases.
Yep.
Kevin,
and
why
y'all
is
looking
Lorraine
at her
still fine though? Why is Lorraine still fine?
I don't know, man. You gotta ask James.
It's something about them legs. It just do something to me every time I see them in a little short skirt and some sheer pantyhose. And you know I don't experience those kind of emotions often. But I just feel like
you are funny.
The way this boy got me laughing.
I be looking at Lorraine like if Deacon Lawson ever mess up.
Which more than likely he not gonna do it. You might have to wait a long time. He ain't
but
going
I'm
nowhere.
telling you, if he do, Lorraine is mine. You hear me?
James is our silent hero because James doesn't publicly say a whole lot.
He don't say nothing.
No, he don't say a word.
I mean,
He's
there's
so
a circle of us
easygoing.
that, again, I'm in a position. I've known James, or James rather, has known me literally all of my life because of our local church association. Point being that, you know, there's conversations that he'll have with us in a private setting, in a private circle. But when it's a whole bunch of people around, you hardly hear James speak. Have I lied?
Because you know why? You know why he's not speaking? Because he's watching.
He's paying attention. Yep.
Because he knows who my mother has been around for so many years, and we were just talking about that, you know, and again, just from him seeing who my mom is now, he's getting a side of my mother that my mother has never been before. She's never been where she didn't have to get up and go to work in the morning. That ain't never been Lorraine. You know,
Kevin, how was it having your mom at one of the last shows with you? How did that feel?
Philadelphia.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth. My mother has been all my life. My mother has been my biggest supporter out of everybody. My mother has been my biggest supporter. She is there with Terrence too. I gotta pay homage to Terrence. But we talking about my mom, but there was so many things that I've done that weren't public that they supported. You know, a lot of people didn't come. They came. I remember when I did my first CD release of a gospel album. Terrence was there. We was at Revival Temple out there in New York, in Newark. My mom has like been my biggest supporter. So when she was there that night, just for my mom to get in a car and travel 2 hours to come and see me, you know, people don't have to be nice to you, especially your mama. She ain't got to be nice to you. But to have my mother there at that show, you know, it was. I didn't take it for granted. I never take it for granted, you know, when my mom comes, because my mother could be a diva and act like she don't care about nobody. She could do that, but that's not who she is. So, you know, it felt really good. She was there, Tony was there, James was there, Stephanie was there. You know, Auntie Fontella was there. You know, they were all there, and it was such a good night. Even though I was just engulfed in bugs and crap because that stage was outside, but it was a very good feeling. I think it's probably why I wasn't worried about too much of the technical stuff. But it was very cool, and I think, you know, a lot of times we take it for granted, you know, that people come down. You know, I ain't never been a star like that. But for people to think enough of me to come to where I am to see me do what I love to do, that's a big deal. But when it's your mama doing it, it multiplies it by like a million. So, you know,
I got a question for you, Kev.
Good time for it. Yeah.
Question: how many people really know some of the artists, major artists that you have really been part of? I'm gonna use Will as an example. How many people know that Stephen King for the Grateful Dead?
Right.
I knew about that, bro. I was blown when I heard that, bro. I ain't
Yes.
even gonna lie. I was, man.
I was there.
That's crazy.
Kev, was it BB King's?
BB King's in New York. That's right.
I was there.
I said, wow, bro. That he done crossed over.
I tell y'all what, it was. I'm gonna tell you like this. When I played with the Grateful Dead, I had to erase everything I know about music to learn that was what they were considered to be a jam band, and all that gospel stuff and all that. I couldn't use any of it. I couldn't use any of it. I was playing drums for them. I was not playing bass guitar. I was playing drums, and the way I tuned my drums, the way I set up, they did not want to hear no.
All that is different.
Snapping.
It's very different. Yeah.
Here's the thing with them. They wanted a lot of drums. I just needed a 5-piece, and you know, I'll let you have it. But they wanted a whole big drum set because they were all about lights. They were all about lasers. They were all about that. So we didn't do a lot of that at BB King's because it was a smaller room. But when I played with the Grateful Dead, everything I knew about gospel music, jazz, contemporary jazz, blues, hip hop, all of it, I had to erase it. I couldn't do it that way because that's not who they were, you know. And so my mom came to see that. Brent, I'm answering your question again. My mom came and she told me, we were outside Terrence when we were in New York, and she said, "This is not your kind of music, is it?" I said, "Mama, no, it's really." I don't know because Tracy, the way that they play,
but the check was your kind of money.
It was green. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
That check. Listen, and let me tell you something. The way that they would set up and the way that they played, they never played on the beat at all. They always wanted you to fluctuate and go back and forward. They never stayed at 120. It was 120, 118, 122, 90, go up to 160. Like it was always something different.
In them clusters.
Yeah, because every song had a song in the song. Every song had a song in the song. You know? So when you're doing like Stop That Train, you would play Stop That Train, they would bring Tangled Up in Blue in the midst of it. So you literally had to go and remember tempos that weren't even there. They wanted you to disappear in the tempos a lot of times because they were a jam band. They would always go into a jam that nobody ever knew about. But you have to understand, a lot of times when these guys was writing that music, they was high as a giraffe's tail.
Yep.
High as a giraffe
That's
behind.
why I love the doobies, bro. They were the
You
same
know,
way.
they were completely high. So
That
doing
dude-
that, and then
it meant more than whatever they, you know.
That's it.
yeah, I think too, you know, and then going from the Grateful Dead and then to Tony, it was like,
That's a whole nother.
wait a
like,
minute, I gotta get my life together because I don't know. Tony, if you had known me back then, you'd have always thought I was confused because I was. I really was. Because I would be playing with them, and then I play with the Tonys, and the E40 would be over here. Yo, man, come over here and play with. And I'm like, I got too much, bro. My head about to explode. I got too much music in my head. But
That
I'm gonna
speaks to your
tell y'all
brilliancy,
something.
though.
And here's the thing. I appreciate that. Thank you. Here's the thing. Nobody ever sounded the same.
How about that?
Nobody ever sounded the same. They weren't using the same patches. They weren't using the same equipment. They weren't coming from that vantage point. So you always knew who was who when they showed up. You always knew. That was the one thing I had to live off of. You tell me in gospel music who has an identity, and I'll sit and wait.
Everybody sounds the same, brother.
The ones that do,
especially now,
are no longer with us. You could always tell a Hawkins tune.
True.
You could always tell a Crouch tune.
That's true.
Unequivocally, you knew
That's true.
the air that you were in when you heard their music.
I knew who James
can I also
Cleveland
tell you
was.
now who has their own
James
sound?
Cleveland.
But now who has their own sound that is pretty much a reinvention of Brooklyn is Vincent.
Yeah.
You can
It's not the
identify
same.
songs
It's
that
not
are
the
Is that the man?
same.
Is that the man
It's
with the
still
pink
it's
shirt?
a Brooklyn sound. Like Brooklyn is
Brooklyn
always
sound.
gonna be
It's an
Brooklyn.
authentic Brooklyn
It's
sound.
not
Not
authentic.
always, because James is Brooklyn,
And really try to
but
put that
James
out.
has a different sound than some of the
That's
other
true.
institutional cats.
But you can
Who
tell
wore
a
the pink
James
shirts,
sound.
man?
You can tell a James sound from a head sound.
From the voicings.
All
Of
day
course.
long. They don't.
No, it's not
Listen.
even just voices. Music in general.
I don't.
No, I'm
I
saying
don't-
voicings, not
No,
voices.
no.
But you
Who's the
figure
one with the pink shirt? What are you talking about?
Who wore the pink shirts in Vegas? Is that Vincent Bohannon?
That's Ricky Dillard.
No, in Vegas.
No, I think
Kevin
it
know
was
what I'm talking
Vincent.
about.
That was
Bohannon.
Vincent. It was Vincent.
Okay, that's all I wanted to
I
know.
mean,
just-
Ricky and them
we
out
gonna
on
go
pink
to-
and green.
But you know what's crazy
No,
though?
she's talking about a specific concert though. That's
The crazy
Gotcha.
thing is, as much as Melvin Crispell wrote for so many people, he wrote for James Hall, he
He
wrote
wrote
for
differently
Hez,
for everybody.
but you can still tell, even though he's the writer, the sound that Hez had versus the one
Yeah.
that James Hall, bruh, that's
He wrote
genius.
differently for every group.
Worlds apart.
Exactly.
he
That's
tells
genius to me.
a specific group. You know.
Melvin wrote. Now I'm gonna tell you when I saw him go outside of his comfort zone was when he wrote that song for DFW. Now when that
One of
happened,
my favorite songs.
Yes.
I was like, okay, so now he's not in a box. But as you can think, when he wrote, Melvin would never write a song for Hez that he would write for James. It would never.
Exactly.
Of course not.
It would never. It would never happen. You know why? Because Melvin would always go dark when it came to James.
Yep.
Because that's what James wanted.
Yeah.
You know,
Except for the upbeat stuff.
Yeah. If it was the upbeat, he would, you know, and then it got darker and crazier when John Peters showed up.
Oh, that,
Right.
It's
That's
like
when it got bad.
gospel
when it's
horror
like-
music.
And
yeah.
that's
That's
what he
exactly what it sounds
That's
like.
what he wanted.
Yeah.
That's what
Because
he wanted. So
it's theatrical. And
Yeah.
it-
But crazy enough, though, even with Melvin writing "Thy Name Be Praised" for DFW, you still hear the influence of worship and praise in that.
absolutely.
You
But
definitely
just
hear worship
enough.
and praise in that.
But it was always just enough to not make it that way.
Exactly.
But at the same time, he had to turn around, and Stephen Ford was the one that kind of lightened it up a little bit.
Of course.
You know,
So,
Steve
go ahead, Tanya.
DFW.
brings a whole. Stephen brings.
That was
DFW.
Fort Worth Mass Choir. That was Fort Worth Mass Choir. So that was-
I'm sorry. Yeah, that name.
But Steven's brain is orchestral.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you listen to him, you listen to Smallwood, you listen to Darren Atwater, you listen to Nolan Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Their stuff is all orchestral, and they're thinking not only voices, but they're thinking instrumentation
I like
and
that.
how to make the
I
song
agree.
full. One thing that I appreciate about Stephen Ford is that though he's from Philly, Stephen doesn't have a Philly sound.
Not at all. Never has. Never
He's
has.
got a Broadway sound.
Definitely.
Steven, you know what Steven sounds like he's from? He sounds like he's from San Francisco, California.
Which is a Broadway sound to me.
It is.
I mean,
it's
even with
a whole other thing.
Hawkins is very Broadway.
Yeah. When Stephen Ford first did that stuff for Richard Smallwood, it literally was making me look. I saw a theater. I saw, and what I know about, like I did this one song called Warrior's Path where I did all this orchestration and stuff. And one thing about music that even playing with all these people, what Brent was mentioning before, or Terrence was mentioning, it's like every genre has its place, right? Mm-hmm. What I loved about Andre Crouch was when he wanted to do some Latin music, he didn't go get some church musicians to try to play Latin music.
Exactly.
Right.
He went and got some Latin cats. He got Alberto Silas and Alex Acuna and all of them. He went because he was the first.
Andre on one of
Sheila E. Yeah, Sheila E. on some stuff.
One of his joints.
That was later. I'm talking about when Finally came out and all of that was.
Yeah,
he was using Alberto Silas and
before you go from there, when we were talking about Stephen Ford, not that this was one of the greater projects that he did, but Kevin, you remember that Bible Way National Choir did 3 albums. Well, they recorded 4, but there were 3 that were released. The last one was one called "What's It All For." It was the one that we did, the only one we did that was under Sweet Rain, which brought Stephen into it. And
that was Stephen Ford.
When you hear, because Andrew, his brother, was the
bishop,
but he was also president, executive producer,
right? Sweet Rain.
And Stephen came in, and while we had a different set of writers, because Michael wasn't the only writer on that particular album, you had a couple other cats. But the point is, go and listen to those horn overdubs and the string overdubs and stuff like that. That's all the from Stephen Ford's brain, and you hear that, and it takes on a whole nother.
And I'll give you a better one. If you go to Smallwood and you listen to The Highest Praise, you listen to the horns on that. That's all Stephen. If you listen to Angels with all the orchestration that's going on under that, and then even
was primarily Total Praise. Am I correct?
Darren, no, that was Mervin.
Mervin, excuse me, I'm sorry.
That was Mervin. Darren did Anthem of Praise and he did Coronation.
Which still,
that was all.
It still just it astounds me just how that all comes together.
And so with all of that, I think one of the biggest things, Brent will be back. I think one of the things that happened to me in this situation is that I've gotten to a place where I've learned to appreciate different various of music, but the character behind the music is what made me want to play it even more. And I think, like you mentioned the Grateful Dead, and then a lot of people didn't know I was a kid when I was playing with Jodeci. I was a baby. And I just, all of those different facets, being a little rockhead kid from Patterson and playing with all this. A lot of people didn't know that Jodeci's family, a lot of their family was in Patterson.
Yep.
Them in Blackstreet.
Blackstreet too. All of them
tie into Patterson that a lot of people don't realize. Fantasia.
She related to them too. They all related.
Marinos.
All
of them
in Vogue.
So a lot of them, when I got with them, it was like I was home because I knew their families. So, which is not why I got hired, but at the same time, just the different genres of music. Like I was telling Tracy, the Grateful Dead, it was one way. There was a lady named Sister Monica who was considered a blues queen in the Bay Area. That lady took me to Brussels.
He's frozen.
Yeah. She took me all in
computer
places. And not as easy as people think it is. Blues is not as easy as people think it is.
That's true.
Was that me? Okay.
Yeah.
Blues is not easy. I think a lot of times people believe that, playing it one way the whole time is easy. Well, see, in gospel, you got
Froze again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something with their Wi-Fi. Yeah, Tracy.
Yeah,
Turn your
your
phones too.
Wi-Fi is going down. KJ.
Yeah.
Got to do, whereas, in this situation,
Babe, we didn't hear some of that because your Wi-Fi is glitchy.
yeah, I just noticed that. I was sitting up here talking. I'm like, are you guys there?
No.
Yeah, we are.
We are now.
Yeah. You froze.
Okay. I'm
You
back now. I
froze.
think
You
Cox
back?
is doing something. Okay. Can you all still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was basically saying, who put Tops Diner?
Cool. What?
Somebody put Tops Diner in there. I don't know.
That was me.
So,
That was me.
just playing all those different genres of music. I think one of the things that I've learned too, like I said, people think blues is easy. It's not easy when you're playing the same thing over and over and over again. And then you go to the next part. And, there are another bunch of people that want you to fit songs in songs, But, in gospel music, you got to do cartwheels and backflips and
Yes,
run
you
through
do.
glass without getting cut. You got to do all of that to be relevant. When I think a lot of this music I've been playing thus far has taught me a lesson. Even with Frankie Beverly, I had to change my bass. I had to change the way I think about the music. I ain't played 4-string. And here's the thing. I've had that 4-string for about maybe 10, 15 years. But previous to that, it was all about a 6 or a 5 with me. I never touched a 4. I didn't want to touch it, But it kind of made you, it pushes you, I played with Walter Hawkins one time. We were doing the Nashville Chamber Orchestra in Nashville, and the Nashville String Machine was behind us. And I promise you, for about close to an hour, they had to keep bringing me back and resuscitating me because I thought I died. Because I just stood there and watched these 70 people, just play this stuff and just flawlessly. They're reading, but it's
Yeah.
flawless. Like,
Yes.
I couldn't deal with that. But I've just been blessed to be able to hang out with these people. A lot of my beginnings started in Patterson. And I was playing Bible Way, I was playing the Screech Temple, and I was playing Gilmore. My grandmother's church in Newark, New Jersey. Then going to New York, playing with James, and then playing at Bible Way in New York, Washington Temple in New York. And just going all the way around. But when I got to the Love Center Church, that just man. I don't know. That just put something on me. So I'm just grateful to be able to say that I've done all that. But it's good to have good people coupled with good music. It's really cool. It's like really cool to have good people coupled with good music. If I gotta have an attitude doing what I love to do when I'm playing with you, more than likely my days are numbered.
Right.
It's no fun. There are people. Y'all remember when it was fun to go to church?
Yep.
Remember on Tuesday nights and Wednesday, you couldn't wait to go to rehearsal, and because you knew
Right.
somebody was gonna be there, and or your little girlfriend.
Listen, if it ain't fun for me to go now, I don't go.
Yeah, no, I just hate it sometimes because I'm like, this is corny. Like, why are we doing this? But they just take the fun out of it. I think that's one of the biggest things.
For sure.
Taking the fun.
Listen,
out
I'm about to get off, y'all. I just realized what time it is, and I got a long day tomorrow.
We got a long day too because I gotta get ready to go and say goodbye for the last time with Frankie this weekend. So,
Gotcha.
But yeah, we had a good time. We're gonna come back next week. Brent, I think his phone died, but we're not gonna let him.
Yeah, his phone died.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna be on.
He said it crazy at the beginning.
Yes, he did. If you missed the beginning, you missed it. Terrence, we do understand that there was some health issues with you, so we don't want to hear any more bad news. So we're gonna ask you. We're not gonna tell you, but we're gonna ask you to please take care of yourself.
I am doing the best I can.
And
I need to be clear that it was not for lack of attempting that, but sometimes with anybody, with any, and for those of them, I can just say simply, it was something related to my diabetes. So that says everything that needs to be said. And sometimes, even when you are doing the right thing, your body can just respond and react certain ways. and all of a sudden shift. So that's basically what happened.
Well, we do understand that. And with that being said, please continue to do what you need to do for yourself. And please get you might be okay, but we want you to get better.
Right.
Don't worry, I am ignoring nothing. I am making sure I'm attentive and doing what is responsible on my part to make sure that
and not just that, but if you cannot control it, don't worry about it.
Listen,
that part.
I serve a God that's a keeper. He's kept me these 61, almost 62 years.
All right.
I'm gonna keep on trusting him. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
You know, and again, that be accountable. Excuse me. Be accountable and make sure that I'm doing the right things myself.
Right.
Like you can't ask God to perform miracles when you're sitting there and purposely poisoning yourself.
I'm gonna say this,
good.
and I'm saying it on camera, and I'm saying it in front of this cloud of witnesses right here. It's midnight. Leave Mount Olive. Go home.
Right.
For real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things is because I'm in the process of moving, I really don't have anywhere like to do this. I can, this is.
It's midnight. Go home. Tomorrow's another day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Listen, I like being in the building this time of day when there's nobody here but me, because there's nobody to bug me.
We understand that, but
old folks say hard heads make what?
I'm going. Good night.
Terrence, you know what? You can tell you from Patterson because every time somebody tells us, we always got something to say about it.
Always.
I'm shutting my mouth.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all.
See y'all next week.
All right.
All right, y'all have a good week.
Tracy, Brent ain't on here, so you're gonna have to get him next week, Tracy. He's not on here.
Yeah.
All right.
She gonna get us on the after party.
Yeah, we'll do it. All right, we'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a good one, man.
Be good, y'all.
All
We
right.
ended right at 9. Congratulations.
All right.
We're still on.
I know. I'm getting off. Because yeah. All right. Thanks, y'all. Hold on. Are we still on? No. We're
still on.
Yeah, we're still on.
I understand.